What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? Well, I'll tell you this. Using my cell phone through StreamYard, I don't really get a very good picture of what I'm looking at. Because right now I'm looking at the moon. That white dot in the middle is the moon. And so I can't zoom in or any of that other good stuff. I can get much better pictures on my regular camera if I just did a static video. Yeah, I don't get very good images on live streams. But just kind of sitting here chilling out. And we'll see what's going on. And let's just sit here in the background. Try not to step on some puppies that are at my feet right now. It's actually kind of a bummer that I can't get that image to come in better. For the one person that just popped in, evidently, I don't know who was, but right now, I wish I can get a better picture of it. But right now, what you're looking at is the moon, that little white dot in the middle of the screen. That's the fucking moon. Take my word for it. It's just my camera and StreamYard won't let me zoom in or anything. It's it kind of sucks. But I don't know. Just really didn't have much to talk about unless y'all that come in have something to talk about. Because I mean, uh, you know, all the other bread in circuses, man, and just I get moments in my life, and I'm like, our our, our future is so fucked, So I almost get into that moment, that kind of a feel sometimes. It's like, well, fuck. Well, if it's fucked, fuck the future. I don't know. I think the future is being influenced into benefit a small few on this fucking planet. And I don't know. This is the thing. It's like, it's a constant. Um, anyway, fuck it. Unless y'all get something to say. Let's see here. What is this? What's up, Garrett? Well, Garrett, with some of that random information there. Yeah. I bet you would be good on Jeopardy. Because honestly, I didn't really. I don't think I knew that. I don't think I knew that. But usually, I saw that movie being made. You know what I mean? Now, I was living in Lake Lure, North Carolina, when they did a lot of the filming down there for Last of the Mohicans. Uh, that was pretty cool. I got to see Dirty Dancing and Last of the Mohicans in that just in that area of Lake Lure. I always thought that was cool. That's the closest I've been to an actual movie set. On location movie set type of thing. Yeah, which is actually kind of. I mean, at one time I wanted to work in that. You know, like horror movie type of shit. At one time, just doing all the blood and guts and shit, doing all that. Because I was like, when I was growing up, I never really succeeded in it, but I knew the only way to make money was through music or movies. Um, but I never really succeeded in either one of those to make a lot, to make any money at it. Yeah. But that's part of the clown shows, fucking the circuses, way to keep us busy on that end of it. Because what they have figured out is building their wealth off of debt. What's up, Tate? You know, I'll put the link in if anybody wants to. Just let me know, whatever. I didn't really have anything planned. I just sitting here looking at the moon, which that's what that little dot in the middle of your screen is the fucking moon. Uh, unfortunately, what's up, Snook? Unfortunately, going through StreamYard and all that other shit, I can't really manipulate my camera. So that little white dot in the middle of the screen is the moon. I wish it was better, but it's not. I mean, if I was just doing a static video instead of a live stream, I can get a much better image of the stars and the moon that I'm looking at right now. I know it's not very exciting to look at, but. Yeah, Tate, I was like, I don't know. I was kind of bored with the stuff that I was seeing that was out there when it comes down to some of the videos in my feed and the live streams that were going on right now. Um, I'm kind of bored with them, so I decided to throw on my own fucking live. I don't know, and see see what comes out of that, and we'll see what happens. Well, Garrett, you know there is a there was talk about that as being the plan in the first place. Garrett. So because I mean, honestly, man, I think um even if you look at the word Vance, I think the word Vance actually means uh, out of the swamp. I think that's what Vance actually means. It's like out of the swamp. So this motherfucker's right out of the damn, right out of the swamp. Definitely one of the swamp creatures. All of them are fucking swamp creatures. When they talk about draining the swamp, they're not. They're not. Um, Thinking about themselves, which that is the swamp. They're looking at everything else that's the swamp, everything other than their part of it. I don't know. I'm just a dumb motherfucker who doesn't know shit. So, you know, entertainment purposes only, right? What are you fucking doing over there? Getting a little too rough with them puppies, fuckers. Anyway, out here. Damn puppies are fucking cool. Well, I mean, I love them when they're this age. I mean, they're fucking funny as hell and funny to watch and really cute. But like in the next week, and within the next week or so, man, I gotta find homes for all of them, all four of them. No, find some people that will take care of them for me. 'Cause I can't have more. No, I can't have more than two. I can't afford it. Can't afford shit right now. You're that dumb? No, I don't. I mean, shit, dude. Snooks. Um, I don't. I wasn't talking about what um Garrett said, because honestly, what Garrett said reminded me of back when I actually back like when Randy Rhodes died in that fucking plane crash. I actually had like a shitload of people believing that Ozzy fucking died in that crash with him. I mean, literally, they were telling the story that I told them like they saw it on the fucking news. So that's what it reminded me of. I'm not falling for that shit, and quite honestly, like I said, that is some of the grapevine type of talk that was happening years ago when it comes down to it. is fucking having Vance take over. Yeah. What's up, Huckleberry? Hey, I didn't. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's quite possible he was the Walking Dead for a while. I mean, but um, I'm glad you guys are here. I mean, like I said, you know, I was bored with what was going on all the other live streams and just all the other videos that were floating around in my feed right now. So here, I open this one up, and there's quite possibly I don't have to stay on live long. I can just switch it straight to a backstage type of thing at any moment, that kind of thing. I mean, that if anybody's interested in that, just kind of hanging out backstage versus on a live stream, um, I'll be in for that too. So, even if any, uh, I don't know. I'm bored. I'm bored. I don't know if you can hear that little puppy over there growling. It's funny. Snooks, man, you just derail a whole damn stream if you came up. It'd be like the damn stream would just go to shit after that. Oh, Huckleberry. Oh, hellfire. I can see the damn flip flop coming off now. You know what I'm saying? You hear that puppy over there growling in the background? I don't know if you can. It's funny. You know, that's the thing. Is like I get one thing that bothers me, and it's like legally here in Florida, I have to wait until they're 6 weeks old to actually give away. Or no, actually, I think it might be 8 weeks now. Think about it. And it's like, man, the longer they're here, the more that big girl and little bit get attached to them, and I hate that. I hate it. But they're dogs, in a couple of weeks to a month or something like that. Especially the older ones, man, they'll get over it. They'll get right past it. You know, it's just the more that they're out here playing around with them. Well, I mean, honestly, Snook, I mean, I've said it before. It's like if I could afford it, I'd have a whole pack of fucking dogs out here. I wouldn't care if I could afford to keep them all out here. But I'm barely scraping by to the point where I don't always have enough, which bothers me. It's like, so I need to get off my ass and fucking find some shit, get some fucking income coming in somehow. I'm just not sure where to go and all that stuff. I've been to a lot of different places and I don't know. I feel demoralized and discouraged and fucking broke. I mean, the rate this is going, man, I'm gonna tell you, I'll be dead and buried before I can retire. Because I'll be working for the rest of my goddamn life. It seems like be working until I fucking keel over. Yeah. Well, yeah. I can see your optimism there, Snook. I can see, well, not too sure myself. You know, that's another thing too. I don't know. I'm sitting here looking at all those stars. You know, like for a couple of weeks, I was seeing those little white dots that are floating across the sky for like, a couple of weeks. So, pretty much every night I'd see at least one. And, for about a week now, I ain't seen none in the sky. To me, that's just odd. You know, so I couldn't tell you exactly what that stuff was. Just little dots up in the sky floating across. But, almost all, I think all of them were going in a straight line. So no odd movements. I mean, they weren't like zigzagging and shit and basically keeping a constant speed and a constant, trajectory. So I don't know. Just a solid white light, no blinking lights. I don't know. Like I said, for the past week now, it's like I've been coming out here at all, just general, odd random hours of the morning and and look up there, especially when it's clear out. If it's clear and I don't have a moon, I can see so many stars. And just for the past week now, I haven't seen none of those little lights. It's just odd. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? I don't really know what to talk. The moon. Use a tic tac. You know, there are ancient cultures that remember a time when the moon wasn't there. And it's quite possible that it was put there kind of in a form of was it geoengineering? You know, to kind of get the tides and all that stuff kind of working in a more rhythmic pattern than it did before it was the moon was there, kind of thing. So gotta understand, it's like, I mean, some people think though that like astrology and all that stuff is all poppycock. Well, you got to think about it. Like, for instance, okay, you look how the moon, and it's not a very um, big rock out there in space comparatively to some of the other planets in our solar system, for instance. But you see how it affects the tides. All right, um, we're a lot of our bodies are mostly water, or a lot of water anyway. So that affects us because of the water inside us. And then on top of that, all the other planets and all that stuff that's in our solar system, they also have an effect, um, but just in a more subtle type way. Because they're further away, and they're either smaller or bigger. You know what I mean? I think it really has a lot to do with their mass. I don't know. Um, the more gravity it produces. Because gravity is like a combination of like magnetism and electricity um and like frequency. So there's a good chance that um somebody had a really good tow rope to kind of pull that fucking piece of rock out there in the sky that we call the moon, and towed that sucker into that spot. They got one hell of a tow chain, right? Yeah. La Luna. La Luna. La Luna. My dogs were out here howling earlier tonight. Oh my gosh, really? Are you kidding me? You really want to come up? Hey, Tate, you want to come up too? Come on, man. Yeah, everybody. I don't have my headphones, but I mean, hopefully it won't echo. But I'll throw the fucking link in there. I don't care. Or there's the damn thing. Oh, there it is. Hellfire and damnation. Shit, I'm gonna have to flip this thing so I can see chat better. Here we go. There it is. Okay. Snow. Yeah, I mean, what you do. You tear this damn string apart. All right. All right.
Gee, could you make me feel any more welcome?
All
Snooks, really? You want to come up? Tate, anybody else want to come up? Please, please. You're such a butthead.
Come on, Jake. Come on.
Anybody but Snooks, please. Hey, we had a good time the last time. So what if I derailed it? At least you laugh. I want to ask you about the moon. Do you think the moon's not real?
No, it's really there. Yeah, for sure.
You said something about it was put there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, who put it there?
Well, that's a good question.
Then you don't think
Somebody
the
had.
moon is real.
So no, it's real. It's just never. It wasn't always there.
Where was it?
Well, it's quite possibly that came from the Van Allen belt out there. That the asteroid belt. It's
I know
quite
what the Van
possibly
Allen belt
it's
is.
it quite possibly came from that, or
Or God
it's
made
a,
it.
or well, let's see, or it's actually a kind of like an observatory to watch us.
Huh. That's an
Um,
interesting thought.
I mean, but like I said, there are ancient cultures that tell of stories from back when where when there was no moon. It was before it was there, and so it makes me, I started thinking about it. It's like without that, I don't really think that the tides and the ocean currents and all the weather system and all that stuff was actually beneficial for life before then. I mean, it had all the building blocks, but it wasn't like paradise in a sense. It was probably shit. But with the moon there, it puts more of a harmony into the planet, really, because it gives it cycles and stuff like that. Um,
Hmm.
so a lot of stuff will be is affected directly by the moon itself being there. So
Well,
it's quite possible that it's a form of like terraforming. Like okay, you had another something saw this rock out in space and decides, well, shit, I want to grow life here or something like that or whatever. Uh, it would be one way to encourage that to happen is by helping it along in a sense. So that's, by just getting a big ass tow rope and lassoing that fucking rock and then towing it over here. That's another story. I don't know how that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know either. You do have interesting thoughts, but I have finally come to the conclusion that that nobody ever landed on the moon. It took me a while, but I was
Yeah.
on Steve Aloha's panel last night,
Yeah.
and with all the talking and stuff, it resonated with me that nobody has ever landed on the moon since. And if it could be done one time, why hasn't it been done since?
Exactly.
Why
Um,
wasn't it explored more? So that's an interesting thought, and I now am going towards that.
and
So,
then they claim that they lost all the technology and they can't do it again. Which I mean, tell them we're in the day and age of fucking quantum computers, and they're trying to tell us that they don't have the technology that they had back in the fucking '60s.
yeah, there's
You
no
know what I
way.
mean?
Elon
I
Musk
mean,
could come up with the technology if he wanted to.
well,
He probably has the technology.
and quite honestly, he might be if he does what he's talking about. That will be the first time we go to the fucking moon is when
Hmm.
Elon fucking does it.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, I don't know. I mean, but even then, it's like it's quite possible that there are other technologies out there that like anti gravity and stuff like that that's been studied and stuff like that for a long time since the '40s. And if there's a possibility that they've actually got craft that's like craft from wherever or whatever
Hmm.
that's that not of this planet, not terrestrial, for instance, and then made their own craft. Who's to say that they haven't in some of these dark black budget type of scenarios? Who's to say they haven't gone to the fucking moon on one of these on these craft, these anti gravity craft that they've got? Um, but it's who's to say they haven't even been to Mars already because of the craft that they got. Um,
Yeah.
because honestly, the powers that should not be, they don't want us to have that kind of. I mean, that's the reason why it's being so. Um, it'd be regulated way too much for having like individual aircraft, kind of like like flying cars and shit. You know what I mean? There's too
Hmm.
much that they want to keep in control and regulated. So I mean, because whatever, but
But I
because
remember JM did point out something last night when he was talking or somewhere. Um, the flags were blowing and waving on the moon when they were shown. How can they do that? There's no breezes, there's no wind up there.
well, um,
So how could the
I,
flag
I
be blowing?
I have not witnessed it. I have not witnessed it myself personally, but I know people
Right.
that are amateur astronomers,
Hmm.
and they've got a nice telescope. And there's one guy; he actually got a YouTube channel. I can't remember right offhand um, the name, but anyway, he does nothing but the moon, for instance. I mean, he's always pointing that telescope to the moon. And some of the stuff that he's caught on film mm, makes you wonder what's really up there. Because I mean, honestly, there has been things that looks like a wind going across the surface.
Well, I know
So
Mars has winds,
which is
doesn't it?
I don't know for sure because I mean I
There's
don't
some
know.
planet up there that has winds.
Well, I mean, what is that? No, I mean that might be Jupiter. Yeah, now I think about it.
I don't know
With that
which one.
with it looks like it's like on a constant hurricane all the time.
Hmm.
Um, I think it might be Jupiter, but anyway, I can't remember right offhand.
I don't
But
remember.
but yeah, it's just that's what I was saying. It's like all those things out there actually have an effect on us also, just in a more subtle sense because they're further away and da 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 whatever whatever.
And what are
versus
all the rings around Saturn?
that's just debris. I mean, debris and ice, as far as I know.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, you got to understand nature out there. It can get very violent, and a lot of things will start breaking apart, and that's part of it. Like for instance, Saturn's ring is something like maybe a moon at one time used to be, and it was blown apart somehow or whatever. I don't know. But I think a lot of it is, just debris like, rocks and ice. I think that's mostly what it is.
Well, I'm sure you're probably right. I haven't really studied it, but I think Saturn is my favorite moon because of the rings around it. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
I wish I
Yeah.
had a telescope.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I'd be satisfied if I can just get really close up video onto the moon, like really close up to the surface, really look at it,
Hmm.
because I had a camera, one of those digital cameras at
What's
one
a
time.
visual camera?
Huh?
What's a visual camera?
A digital.
Oh, digital.
Yeah, a digital camera, and it had a really good zoom on it, and I could get really close up video of the moon and stuff. But there's been stuff. There's this thing I think I don't know. You might be able to still find some stuff on YouTube on it, but I think it was called the Moon Wave or something like that,
Excuse me.
where where it looked like um, the moon rippled or at least the atmosphere above it or whatever, you know what I mean, if there is an atmosphere or whatever, but
Mm.
it looked like it rippled, and it's interesting,
I
and
just
there's
looked
other
up,
stuff. Go
sorry.
ahead. No,
I
go
just
ahead.
looked up Mars, and winds can reach speeds of up to 60 miles per hour during strong storms, and they can have dust devils and global dust storms.
Yeah,
Interesting.
sounds like a fucking awesome place. It's vacation, right?
No, I don't think so.
I
Hi, you
mean,
people.
I'm serious, man. All they got to do is build a fucking Starbucks up there, and they can have all kinds of service.
I have no desire to go into outer space. I never have.
Well, I'll tell you this: I wouldn't mind having my own Spaceballs fucking um Winnebago spaceship.
I
That
can see you.
that would be I could totally do that, you
I
know.
could see you doing it too. That's almost sad,
Yeah, and just
but it is funny.
going from one galactic bar to the next. I don't know. Like,
Going from galactic
yeah,
bar.
just stay away from those chicks with the tentacles, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you need you what, a Leia, Princess Leia.
No. Nah. Oh
Well,
man.
of course, the buns on the side of her head are stupid. Okay, I'm detracting. Well, they were. It was like the worst hairdo ever. I mean, give me a break. They looked like she had on headphones, but they were just hairy.
Right. Yeah.
But Spaceballs was a good movie. This is what I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you also. You tend to go into depth on a lot of things, and I find this in the Truther Society and with conspiracy theorists, and I'm not, slamming you or anything. I have a lot of things where I just look at something and it is the way it is. Do you ever look at that? Like there was a woman from a Truther Society who said that during those, God, Texas floods, Tennessee floods, that nobody died in those floods that hit that children's camp. Nobody died. Not one single person died.
Well,
And it just floored me.
I don't know. Um,
I look at things sometimes and just think, you know what? That's just the way it is. I don't go into the depths of it or stuff. You go into a lot of depths of things, but do you ever look at things and just say, yep, that's just the way it is, or do you question everything?
oh, I question everything actually.
Hmm. Wow.
Even though I know in a lot of ways it just seems like this is the way it's been forever, and there's too many people that are on board with it, so it's going to continue going on the same way. Um, that's the problem, really, when it comes down to a lot of the, um, I guess the underlying problems that are coming toward us, and very rapid succession. Um,
Well, I understand what you're saying, and I think I've said this many times. I don't wear rose-colored glasses. You know, I'm looking to the right, left, ahead of me, and behind me all the time. It's just that I'm just not into the death, doom, and despair part of it, and maybe I should be. But I can tell you what, I can use a hand chainsaw now, so I am more valuable to you if you ever have to go in the woods. You should see me go up my bougainvillea. I've been working on it for 2 weekends. I'm almost through cutting it, and I'll be digging it up and getting rid of it. I am slam banging it. 5 bags of cuttings yesterday.
I hear you.
I'm so proud of myself with
Well,
that. It's
good, good.
fun. I
Right
love
on,
it.
right
Should have
on,
gotten it years ago. So I can not only do that, I can cook. So I can cut wood and cook,
right on.
but you have
Yeah,
to charge the battery. Okay, I'm screwed. Never mind.
yeah, buddy.
I'd still bring food and cook though. Bet you I can fry up some mean worms and crickets.
Yeah, is that right?
I'm
Yeah.
sure I'd eat 'em. If I had to survive, I'd eat 'em.
Make it taste like spaghetti.
Kind of. Got ketchup, you just put it on there and yep, you're eating spaghetti.
Well, yeah. I mean, I read the book How to Eat Fried Worms. I know how to do
Well, yeah, but that's woman's work.
it.
You just go catch the worms and kill them and catch the crickets. You do the food hunting and I'll do the cooking and then somebody else can do the wood chopping.
No,
I like it.
nobody touches my grill.
I
I'm
don't need your grill. That's beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I can't stop looking at it.
telling you.
You killed me with that. Is it still beautiful though?
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Okay, but I've seen you cook out in the woods when you've done your camping overnight things and you make do with what you have. So you'd have several things going. And I do have a machete and I can wield that. I'm
I
telling
hear
you,
you.
I'm
Yeah.
getting more useful. I'm getting more benefits here. And I have a hand can opener, so there you go. See? I'm adding up my assets.
Well, I mean, Snooki, it's a good thing anyway. Because I mean, I was telling, my sister got not too bad. She didn't really get anything messed up on her place, but she was up in North Carolina when Hurricane Helene came through.
Mm,
I mean, not that far away from Asheville. That put it that way.
yeah, I know
And
how hard they got hit.
well, and I told her for years before that happened. I was like, listen, you never know what could happen. I mean, it could be a natural disaster or it could be man-made disaster. It don't matter. But you never know what could happen. You need to have, at the bare minimum, 2 weeks of food, water, whatever medication you need, and whatever ways you have to protect all that stuff. Um, uh, and you need to have that on standby. And if it's like food and stuff like that, and it needs to be rotated, do that. Just you also want to if you're going to stack food away at all, if you're going to
Mm,
put food away at all for like an emergency type of thing, make sure it's food you like to eat anyway. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Don't get beans and rice if you don't want to be eating beans and rice. You know,
Well, during those
so,
two hurricanes that hit back to back and affected Florida, I only lost power for 2.5 days at the most. But when I saw them heading my way, I cooked rice, I cooked chicken breast, I cooked vegetables ahead of time, and I can eat those cold and enjoy them. They're fine with
right,
me.
right,
So
right,
I
right.
had a lot of food cooked and prepped that I ate. And I had electrolyte drinks. I'm very prepped as far as the
Well,
2 weeks.
I'll tell you this. And this is one of the things that I know where my weaknesses are. Okay, when Hurricane Michael came through, I was out of power for almost 2 weeks,
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
All right, and so. for one, no electricity, to run the air conditioner or the refrigerator or the freezer.
Hmm.
And then on top of that, no electricity to run the pump for the well. So there was no water.
Oh, so you didn't
I
have water either.
Well, see, that was the thing. It's like I had to, like go wash my butt in the pond down there. So I mean, at least I had that going for me. Some people didn't even have that. It's like they were down in Panama City in certain areas. They didn't have water even to wash their butt for a couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? So I started thinking about like those are my weaknesses. Really, is something where I don't have to worry about my freezer, my refrigerator going out, and the well for the electricity or whatever to power the well. Um,
Well, you need a
and
generator.
well, you got to think about that too. That was another thing too. I had to go at least an hour and a half out from where I was just to get a cell signal and get fucking gas. So if you don't have enough gas stored away for one,
Mm,
you got to do that if you're thinking about the generator. Because I
mm,
mean, you can either get a generator that runs off of gas or propane,
mm.
and depending on what you got, propane's easier to store than gas, but you got to at least have that set aside because once your gas is out, if there's no pumps fucking putting gas out, there's a line and nobody's
Mm.
getting gas, that kind of thing. Because the power, if the power goes out, you can't pump gas without power. They're not like the old pumps back in the day. You know.
But you can also get a generator that runs on propane and gas.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, propane's easier to store for long periods. I mean, you can do that with gas, but you gotta take some steps to make sure it will stay good for a long period of time.
Well, I think it
Um,
runs longer on gas, and also then you have to replace the propane. And if they're all bought up, then you've got no tanks.
right, right. That's the thing. That's the only thing
So,
about
yeah.
generators because it's a depleting resource if you use it. So you got to have some way of generating, like for instance, if you're running things off of electricity, like I am,
Hmm.
I got to figure out ways of powering all that stuff off of the grid. Because if the power goes out and it stays out for a long period of time, I still got to figure out a way. I still got to have a way to power the refrigerator and the freezer for mostly, and
Hmm.
then it'd be nice to have the well powered also, so I'll have
Well,
water.
yeah.
You
I
know
didn't
what
know
I'm
you could
saying?
power the well with a generator.
Well, that's the tricky thing too. I mean, I'm not. I think I can, but I don't. I haven't tried it. I don't know, but I wouldn't try it anyway. I wouldn't try it with a generator anyway because, quite honestly, man, um, it wouldn't work right. I have to figure out a different way of doing that because that on a long term scenario. Because if the power and everything goes down, the power and the cell phones and everything go down for some reason, and then don't come back. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I mean, you give people a couple of weeks, they start getting itchy, and then you get more than 2 weeks without all that stuff. People start getting really twitchy.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, by the time 2 weeks comes up, most of the stores will probably already be looted, depending on where you're at. But even in because I mean, when Hurricane Michael came through, damn, there was I can't remember the name of the area where I was at in Panama City, but like the whole front of a dollar store got shaved right off by the hurricane. Dude,
Hmm.
that place was cleaned out in 2 days. You know,
Yeah, my son lives in Perry, Florida, which is, right up there in the elbow. I mean, right up there in the armpit of Florida, and
right,
about 45 minutes from the Gulf. And their town, I think it was Michael, I can't remember. I think 2 years ago, it got decimated. It got totally destroyed. And then it got looted too.
right,
They lost, I mean, and it's a small town. It's a great town. The people are great, but it took down everything. And he was without power for 2 weeks, and I had him come see me and get my generator
right,
because, after Michael finally had passed and everything, he came and got my generator because number one, I didn't know how to use it. It was brand new. He needed it more than me. and he fixed it and it runs great for him and he's made good use out of it, like the last two hurricanes last year.
Now I've got one. It needs some work done to it because I mean it's been sitting for a long time, but I've
Hmm.
got one, but I don't rely on it because I can't. I don't really keep gas on stored.
Yeah.
So, um, but so I'm always looking for alternative ways, to do those things because that's where my weak points are.
Well,
You
there's
know, and so-
solar. Don't they have
well,
solar generators or something?
yeah, I mean that's something that I've been thinking about, but it's right now it's out of my price range.
How
I mean,
expensive are they?
well, it depends on what you want. Because I'm going to tell you something. If I want to be able to run my refrigerator, my freezer,
Hmm.
and maybe an air conditioner if it's hot, if it's because like Hurricane Michael was during the summer, so I mean, it was hot, and or what I mean, if it's during the winter time, I ain't worried about it too much because I mean, I'll just bundle up with whatever and stay warm. But if it's during the summertime, man, without an air conditioner, it just sucks.
So I take the heat. When I lost the power last year, the heat didn't bother me so much. I sat on my back porch.
Well, see, that's the thing too. I mean, when I was standing in that camper over there,
That would get hot.
yeah, I mean, and there really wasn't a whole lot of ventilation in that thing too. So I mean, it did. I mean, it was like an oven inside that thing. I felt better just pitching a tent out here in the yard,
Yeah.
because it was just nicer during at night than it was, sweating my ass off in the camper.
But how much do you think solar ones go for?
Well, I mean, like I said, it depends on how big of a setup that you want. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean,
Okay.
but
Well, I may just look into those. My son looked up and found me three generators that he thought were good, and they were like around 1600, which is kind of
well,
pricey for
and
me.
like I said, it depends on what you want to run off of it. You know
This
what
would
I
have run
mean?
the whole house.
Oh, well, um,
This would have run everything. I think running my freezer and my refrigerator, I think that's the most important. Heck, if I can run ceiling fans, I'm happy.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think the freezer and to be able to open my garage door, which I can hand open, but it does open with electricity
Well, because I
or
mean,
battery or something.
if thing, because definitely your refrigerator and freezer would be one of the top things because you got to think about it. It's like the longer it stays with no power, and
Hmm.
unless you just do not ever open up the doors,
Hmm.
um, it's only going to stay cool for so long, and that food's all going to spoil. And it's either having a really big cookout and start cooking everything up, or some of it will spoil.
Well,
So,
it's hard to cook pizzas, and I've got 25 of those. But you
but
know
I'm
what?
saying,
During the 3 days that the power was off, those pizzas stayed good.
right? Well, I
I
mean,
didn't lose any food.
well, that's the thing too. Is like like I said, it depends on how many times you open the damn doors to
I
the
didn't.
refrigerator. But that's the thing. If you don't, they'll hold cold for a while.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But it's like if it went on longer than 2 weeks,
Oh, yeah,
uh,
I'd be screwed. The food would be gone probably within a week.
that's the thing. That's why I was saying it's like
Yeah.
to me, um, at the time, the refrigerator, freezer, the air conditioner, and the well were the most important things that I didn't have.
Mm. Well,
So
I'd
I
like
mean,
my oven too, because I don't really have anything to
uh,
cook on.
yeah, I mean, I can find different ways of cooking things. You know what I mean?
I
I
know
ain't
you have
worried
your
about that.
beautiful grill.
I've got all kinds of different ways of doing it. I can just go back to the camping ways if I have to. But
Yeah.
um, so I mean, I'm not worried about cooking things. It's
Well, I
just,
am.
yeah.
So I'd like to have my oven.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, I've got an oven now, and I don't even use it. I just
No,
use I
because you
just
use your beautiful grill.
well but I got a pork roast in the damn freezer that I've been needing to cook up for a long time now, and I'm not exactly sure how I want to do that yet.
Oh, you bake it in the oven with, ginger and cinnamon and nutmeg on it.
Right?
And it smells wonderful. You don't get all that taste in the pork roast, but it smells wonderful while it's cooking, and it just, yeah, it's really good.
I don't even know if I've got a dish big enough to hold it. Now I think about it.
No, buy a disposable tin thing, those disposable throwaway
Oh
ones.
yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, those are always good. God, that thing must be huge.
Well, it's a pretty good size one. It's been in my freezer for about a year or two.
A year or two. 5
Yeah.
years later, it's still in your freezer. I use a cookie sheet and put aluminum foil on it. It's not like it has to be covered or anything, and it just
No, it just
cooks.
yeah, it just yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Just cook it. Been
Yeah.
looking at Jackery. What's Jackery?
That's a solar generator.
Oh, I am going to
Yeah.
look up solar generators because you don't have to use gas. I mean, you have to depend on the sun on them, but to me, that would be
Right.
the easiest.
Right. I mean, and like I said, it just depends on what you are planning on trying to power up, and then
That's true.
that will determine like how what kind of like solar generator you want.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I mean, you think about the solar panels. That's another, something else you got to look into.
Wait a minute, they don't
Um,
come with solar panels?
um, I'm pretty sure they don't, but
Well,
you probably could get them with
I
that,
am
but
going to research that just out
I
of
don't think
interest.
they don't come with. I
They
don't
may
think,
not.
yeah, I don't think so. But
Anytime they can add on something extra to cost your money, they're going to.
oh yeah, for sure.
The panel
But
of they, like who is they? They're always in charge of everything. They always say this.
yeah, they talk a lot, don't they?
Yeah, the they. See, I'm talking smart. I'm doing a lot better. I can do it sometimes.
You can do it.
I can do it sometimes. Oh God, you weren't there when I was on Steve and Dave's last night.
No, no. I mean, I didn't
Yeah,
really.
you would have left. You would have left anyway because
I
it was
wandered in and
hysterical.
out. I wandered in and out of a lot of different people's streams last night, and then I even went over to Indy's backstage, and
Hmm.
I only stayed there for a little while, and then I dipped out, and I just went to sleep, dude. I don't know what was. I was just not. I was not in a real weird. I was just in a weird mood. I didn't even really,
You
I was
must have
just
been
kind of.
restless last night.
Well, I mean, it's like even tonight, man. It's like I went around all over, my normal rounds on YouTube and stuff, and went and checking all the people that are live and checking out all the people that are, all the videos that some of the people I subscribe to I missed or whatever, da 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 da, whatever.
Hmm.
And I was getting bored,
You
you
might.
know.
You don't go on Rumble, do you?
I used to have a Rumble channel now, but I mean, even then, that I don't really find a whole lot of interesting stuff on Rumble anyway.
Well,
Um,
Algorithm goes on there Monday nights. He's interesting. You might like that.
I hear you. Well, I
So,
mean, yeah, I don't know.
no, I get bored and I make the rounds too, and then I end up going playing games on Facebook because they're easy and they're childlike. I don't play those, games with a bunch of guns and blood and car chases and stuff.
Okay,
I play games where I have a chance of actually going up levels.
right on.
So I just enjoy that. That's kind of a stress reliever for me. But I stay pretty busy. I get restless. And then I'll watch something and then I'll get up, for 5 minutes, then I'll come back and watch, then I'll get up. Like being on panels is the most time that I relax because I actually have to sit still. Well, it's true.
Yes,
I'm
sit
not
your
hyper, just
sit your
restless.
ass down and stay still.
Yeah, I do sometimes. I do. I enjoy it though. I enjoy that people put up with me except you. All right, Snugs, I'll put it out there.
Yeah, come on,
Yeah, it's
man.
okay. I'll take pity.
Yeah,
Oh, you know you like it when I'm up here.
if you
At least I
really
make you laugh. Oh, if
want
you
to
really
come
want
up.
to. I know. More pity party Snooks.
Yeah.
Yes, it makes you laugh.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, those dang
Yeah.
theys, I swear to
And you
God. Every
and
time somebody
and you
says they
see
used to do
Tate
this,
didn't you see
huh?
Tate didn't even bother coming up here. He's like, "No, fuck that."
Why didn't you? If I hear that Tate talks backstage at Indies, why don't you come up, Tate?
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, this is backstage. I don't really hear Tate like on a live, but yeah, backstage he's fine. He talks. Sometimes he talks a lot, which is I do the same thing. I get long winded sometimes, and he can do
No,
that too.
you?
Yeah, I know I do. I
No,
mean,
so do I.
and he definitely can too. So I mean, he's not shy once he gets to know you, I guess, that kind of thing.
I
And
hear Tate has a deep Southern voice. How come you don't come up here, Tate? Now that I'm putting you on the spot.
that's all right. I mean, even then, it's like, I mean, we can always do this backstage too. I mean, it doesn't have to be a live thing because I
Oh,
mean,
you got a sore throat. Okay, that's such BS. That's just pathetic.
what?
Tate's saying he's got a sore throat. He just got it last night from talking so
Okay,
much.
yeah, that's what it is. He's been talking so much.
I don't know. I thought, I don't talk to people in the daytime. I'm a loner, but I find that I do enjoy getting on panels and talking. It's fun. I learn things.
Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm coming from an old radio background, so it's nothing new to me personally because I mean, it's just a different medium. How I see YouTube, for instance, it's like it uses video. I mean, I have the option of using video versus just nothing but audio. So I've been talking to people on radio for many, many years,
I
and
remember when how come you don't do that anymore?
well, I haven't moved all the. I gotta actually take the antenna down and take the tower down and then move it over to the new spot.
Oh, that's a lot
And
of work.
I have been procrastinating my ass off on that. And that is one of the main things right now is I've got to take that down, move it over, and then I can run coax and all that stuff and get a radio running inside the house. And and I've also got to come up. I think I might have one, but I've got to come up with a power supply for the radio also. Those are the two main things really that I've been procrastinating the shit out of, and that's one reason why I've been. 'Cause I know what it takes to put the tower up because I did it by myself, and I know what it's going to take the damn thing down, and I'm not looking forward to it.
But how can you
So
take that down as one person? Don't you need help?
no, I can do it by myself. It's a pain in the ass. That's all.
Well, I don't blame you for procrastinating.
Yeah, I'm hoping, because maybe I can get my buddy John, that lives, he's like 30 minutes away from me, maybe to come out here and be like a ground guy. And while I climb up on the tower and unbolt everything and all that shit, he can be on the ground holding the rope, that kind of thing. And, but it's just, you know, getting the right time and when I'm feeling like they're doing it and all that kind of stuff.
And that's the day Wingnut learned how to fly.
Yeah, no. What I'm gonna do is actually
Uh,
I'm gonna build a platform that I can put on that tower as I take it down. That's what I'm standing on. Instead of standing on the runs of the tower, I want to
mhm.
build a platform that I can stand on and work on the damn thing while I'm standing. Have a nice sturdy platform to stand on.
Good idea.
And
How tall is the tower?
um, I don't know, probably about 45 foot, something like that.
Oh, crap.
It's not that bad. It's not. It's actually not that bad. But I mean,
That's bad.
it's still, it's just a pain in the ass.
Listen, I got an 8-foot ladder that I have to use in the vanity area sometimes to change light
Mhm.
bulbs or to do something with the ceiling fan. And just climbing up halfway of that freaks me out.
Yeah. See, the antenna has got to be above the tree line, and
Mm,
the trees are just about that tall. So it's got to be actually, and also I want it in a certain wavelength, because the height of the antenna actually matters on how the signal travels, and so.
But then when you get it down, how do you move it to where you want it?
I got to take it down. I got to take the antenna off, and then I got to take the tower piece by piece, and it's like 4 or 5 pieces. I think it's
Dang,
four
that's
pieces.
like a Tinker Toy set.
It's just yeah, you got to take it apart one piece at a time, and then that's how you that's and it's that's how you have to set it up. You got to do one piece at a time until you put the top piece on, and then you stick your antenna on.
I have a suggestion for you. Give up the radio.
No, it's I
Don't do it
mean
again.
I'm just not as keen on jumping up and down that damn tower like I used to. That's all.
I don't
It's just
blame you.
it just I used to be able to do it a lot easier, and it didn't bother me. You know what I mean? I would climb my friends' towers and stuff like that to kind of help them work on their antennas and shit.
Well,
Nowadays,
you don't have a fear of heights.
no, not really. I mean, there's sometimes, man, I feel like I was born up there, and then there's sometimes I'm so scared I'm like clawing the damn thing like a cat. But but the thing is, it's like um I just get I've done it a lot, and I know what it takes. Like I said, I'm the one that put the tower up and my antenna up all by myself, so I know what it takes to put it up, and I know what it takes to take it down. And the older I get, the more I'm like, fuck, if I want to do that right now, and
It's
But
pretty impressive you've done all that.
it's just like I said, I'm a professional procrastinator. I'm not lazy. I just
No, you are
procrastinate the
not
fuck out of
lazy. You're not lazy. But when something that is that big, I can see somebody procrastinating. I procrastinate, but then I make a list, and whatever's the hardest, I do first to get it out of the way, and then everything else is just icing on the cake. But then I'm not doing things like that.
Yeah, well,
Oh, so Tate, between last night and right now, allergies kicked up. Yeah, okay. Men, you always have excuses, and they're always BS. Calling it
and
out
for a
there.
second there, I thought he said he lives near ferries. Okay, my dyslexia kicked in. I was like,
I didn't know you had dyslexia.
oh yeah.
No. You do well. You do well. I don't want to know how you eat an eggplant, okay, Eimer, because I'm sure it's going to be very bad. You ask him. You do it, Wingy.
No, it's okay.
You
I'm su-
ask him.
I'm sure Huckleberry will tell us, man, because he's
Oh
really
no, how do
anxious.
you eat an elephant? See, I said eggplant. He said
Yeah,
elephant. I'm not dyslexic. I'm just stupid. One time by at a time.
that Freudian slip. That's what it was, right?
I slipped on something. I read good and I'm thinking, I don't even want to say it. Never mind. I'm trying to be smart. It's a metaphor. For what? Oh, well. Can't understand, Eimer. How come you didn't go on Indy's panel Friday night? You don't want to get up there on the, or you did go up.
Um,
You did go up on Indy's.
I think so. Can't
I don't know.
remember.
Hey, listen, I get confused.
Wait a minute.
She had the panel first and then the music.
Oh,
Yes, you did,
oh, I
because
did. Yeah, I did.
I was trying to get you to
Yeah,
sing again, and you totally ignored it.
yeah, I totally ignored that. Yeah,
I know.
I'm totally ignoring that request altogether.
You ignore all my comments in Indy's chat, so it doesn't matter. I'm used to it.
um, but yeah, because I mean, what I'll do is I might come there for like the conversation if there's something I can talk about.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that's when I go up there.
but
If
other,
I can contribute,
and
yeah.
but that's another thing too. Is like even after that stream's over, man, there's a backstage that ends up being there for a few more hours,
Yeah.
which is, it depends on who's in there and what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I did
Um,
go up there because they were talking about Bill Gates and Growl was up there, and I wanted to make some corrections with him. And yeah, it didn't go that well. I was fine. Growl was very feisty. He was in a feisty mood.
yeah.
So I actually was better behaved than he was. If I can contribute something, like I want to feel really assured of what I'm going to say, or I'm not going to go up there and put out info or correct somebody. But I did enjoy being up there, and then I went back in the chat. So I had fun. Who's barking?
Those are my girls.
Aw. Wish you could show the puppies.
The what now?
I wish you could show the puppies.
Yeah, it's a little dark out here, and you won't be able to see them
Yeah, I know. You don't have your fire tonight.
there.
How have your temperatures been?
It's actually not too bad, man. I mean, it got slightly cooler at night, a couple of nights ago.
Hmm. Yeah, y'all definitely get cooler up there than I do.
Well, I mean, even right now, it's not too bad. It feels pretty good right now. You know, and I'm just sitting out, out in the night air.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when I worked out in the yard Sunday, I was out there for several hours and I think it was about 87. And but like I said, I've gotten used to it. I stay very hydrated and I took one break, but I don't like to stop after I've finished everything, even though I'm exhausted. I don't want to stop until everything's put up, everything's in order, I'm done. So when I sit down, I'm done with everything. I don't have to
Yeah,
think about going back out there and doing this or doing that.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Ah, Kamama, Kamehameha, beautiful butterfly. Hi there, sweet friend. I don't ever go to the backstage Imer because it runs too late. And it just runs too late for me and I don't want to watch the movies and
Yeah, how where them old people they got to go to bed early.
who you referring to, you? Because you sure as hell ain't referring to me. Hey, I can leg sweep you and take you down. I may be short, but I'm fierce. You know Kamehameha, don't you?
um, I don't know. I don't know.
I think she's come in your stream a time or two. She goes around the stream. She always came in Mr. Bill's. I think that's where only Mr. Bill. I think that's where I met her. Really
Right
good
on.
lady. Really good lady.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, and I haven't done anything on this channel in a while, so I'm just surprised to see everybody here.
Well,
Um,
I shared you out to Indy's live Discord.
oh, well, that's thank you,
I,
so
well, I'm not trying to brag about it, but whenever you come on, if Indy doesn't share you out, I always share you out.
oh, right on, right on. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because I don't really try, to advertise and all that other stuff. Even this is a random thing anyway.
Yeah, why
I
are
don't
you on your second one instead of your first one?
just for shits and giggle. I was like, why not? Let's change it up. Let's just see what happens.
I'm
You
so
know,
bored, I'm just gonna go here.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. That's what it was. Basically, I mean, seriously, I was just bored, and I was bored with what I was watching, and I was like, why not just fucking? Well, and this is another thing too. It was partly a test, because I really wanted to see how I can manipulate my camera on Streamyard, which I can't, because I'm on a cell phone or whatever, whatever. But I can't do anything. I can't zoom in or nothing or whatever. So that kind of sucks.
mhm.
So if I want to get any more nighttime videos, I have to do it a static. I can't do it a live stream of it. I'd have to do just regular static videos because the
Did you say
camera was
stag videos?
static.
Oh, okay.
But
I mean, I'm hearing wrong. I think my hearing is dyslexic.
well, I also I'm using my speaker on my phone. I mean, I'm
No,
not
you're
even
speaking fine.
I'm not on my headphones,
Mm.
but no, my camera is it's better, than on its own versus when I have to go through StreamYard.
Mm. Kamehameha, yes, Mr. Bill does stream in the daytime sometimes. He streams leftist. I don't know if it's a restream that he's streaming or if it's a live stream. But yeah, you can find him on the daytimes. He's doing it a lot more. I try and pop in when he's on and say hello and share him out too.
Oh well, that's cool, Tate. I don't really. I mean, at one time, I mean, I'm still kind of leaning on this, but at one time I was thinking about only doing my live streams on this channel instead of doing it on my main channel because I didn't really want any. At the time, this was like when the cupcake was being forced down our fucking arm. Um, the Some of the characters that I was running around with here on YouTube, yeah, it was possible they could get my damn channel taken down. So I was like, well, shit. All right, well, fine. I'm just going to do all my live streams on this channel, so it wouldn't affect my main channel and all that other good stuff. So I don't know.
I
I
thought
don't know.
you
And
had
plus,
this as your backup channel in case you
it
got
was
screwed over on the first one.
that's what it was. That's why I
Yeah,
created it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But then I started thinking, I was like, well, why jeopardize my main channel at all and just do the live streams that could cause trouble, but do them over here?
Well,
So
I know that you're leery about saying the coof word, but with Trump back in the White House, it doesn't seem to be an issue saying it anymore.
yeah, I mean,
But if you should still be protective. It's not a, it's
well,
it's not bad.
I'm okay with code words. I'm not worried
Yeah,
about
me
that.
too. Me
And
too.
most people have pretty general idea of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But um, I don't know. I mean, like when I used to have when um, some of these odd characters from all over the world, actually, um, up on a panel and stuff. Sometimes it could get pretty interesting, depending on
Oh
who it
yeah,
is.
I heard him. I heard him, and then I think I put something in the chat about saying the C word so much, and like I said, that's what they do in Australia and England.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
oh. Well,
It's
Kamehameha, you may want to just sub to Mr. Bill then again, and that way you'll know when he's on, hopefully. Um, God, I forgot I was going to ask something really intelligent.
really.
Hey, don't go at me, dude. I'm smart. I'm smart. I can be intelligent. Oh, I was going to say, I know when I went on Indy's panel, I think the first time to talk politics and stuff, they would say a lot of words, and I was surprised. And I go, Indy, is that okay to say? Or I'd be wanting to warn people not to say that. And it was like everything was fine on her panel.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with it either. You know what I mean? Honestly, and but um, there was a lot of stuff. Like for instance, I got one guy in particular that I'm thinking in my head that um has tried porn bombing me a couple of times to get me my channel struck and taken down.
Mm.
So I mean that's just one individual. Um, and like I said, I've said this before. I mean, I've hit the big time a long time ago, man. I've got at least one hater in every state and one in every country. So, I mean,
You've
I've
gone
already hit the big
international
time,
with
dude.
the
That's how I
hatred.
see it.
I'm so proud of you.
I mean, seriously, I got to spread the hate, equal opportunity
Yes, you
type of
do.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
equal opportunity hate spreader.
yeah.
That's a good title.
The equity. Yeah.
Oh, I've got people that don't like me either, but it's okay. I'm not a streamer, but they still are out to dox me even now after 5 years.
Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, I've been in the radio world for a long time, and I
Mm,
mean, so I've got a lot of those, and see the. since the digital stuff came into play, it's like a lot of those radio people that I've known in the past, they're on the internet too, So,
That's
you know,
true. That's
I've
very
like I
true.
said, I've got one hater in every state and one in every country.
You could
So,
have more than one in some states.
and I probably got a shitload of trolls out there too, but I don't really care about the trolls.
Hi, Silver. Good to see you.
You
So I didn't
What's
labor
going
on
on?
Labor Day. I labored on Sunday. Silver Shelby Stacker showed up.
I see that. Yeah,
What do you mean? What's going
that's a
on?
new name. I don't know. Like,
Oh, you don't know him? He's a friend of JM's and Neil's. He's into the
okay, well,
collect
that's cool.
silver and gold. Yeah, good person. Very good person.
I will be right back. Come and grab my cigarettes.
Oh God. Okay, I am now taking over the live. We're gonna have fun. Scare Wing. He'll get this taken down. Hey, Silver, you want to come up and talk? I think Wingnut would love to have anybody up here but me. I saw that, well, that was very exciting watching that, and I don't collect silver, but that was exciting, Eimer. I'm your Huckleberry. I'll be your Daisy. God, was the best movie ever. Tombstone. I think I've watched that 10 times now, and I'll still watch it again. Do you collect silver, Eimer? Yeah, great movie. Great movie. The one they made with Kevin Costner was like, it was so bad. Good for you. I've got some stuff I want to take to a jeweler and sell. Got a little bit of platinum, but that's a ring. It's not much platinum. Just ticks me off that diamonds aren't worth anything, but the metal is. How can diamonds not be worth anything? What?
I don't know. I mean, why did they? Why did they? Why did anybody put a value to diamonds anyway? Just because they're rare, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I don't know that they're that rare anymore, but and also they make lab created diamonds that look like diamonds and don't cost you as much. You've got
Right.
zircons, so it's
That's
taken the
true.
value out of diamonds. I don't know. I used to love diamonds. Now I don't care, but I'd like to sell some. But the metal's worth more than the diamond. Yeah, that's true. Diamonds are everywhere. I'll tell you what's Tanzanite. Tanzanite is worth money. That's harder to get.
I'm waiting for a damn meteorite to fucking come out of the sky and land out here in the yard somewhere. That's what I want. Some fucking meteorite. That's what I.
Don't you have to turn that over to the government?
Fuck them. They don't just. They,
I knew you were going to say that's the only reason I asked.
fuck them,
Hell no. Well,
dude.
yeah, but how would you sell it to?
I think
You'd
I
make
don't know.
money.
I don't even know. I don't even know. I have no idea. I wouldn't even worry about it, honestly. But I know meteorite, an actual meteorite, actually, it depends on how big it is, also. But it will bring that brings in a lot of damn money right there if it was sold. So I mean, it'd be very valuable thing. And I'm just sitting here watching, like, look, every once in a while I catch like a little streak across the sky. You know what I mean? Just kind of like it's like a brief streak, and I'm like, yep, there's one of those falling stars, and I'm like, that's probably just a meteorite, and just land in my fucking yard, why don't you? It's like, or it could give me superpowers or something. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of cool.
Superpowers.
Why
I
not, man?
almost think I read about a meteorite piece that sold a week or two ago for like $8 million or something. I swear to God,
Yeah,
I
I
saw a
mean,
story on that.
anything extraterrestrial would bring a lot of money in the right market. It would.
Just think what an alien would bring you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, and that's another thing too. I mean, anything like uh, anything that you can find that would be not of this world to the right collector, dude, it would be like sky high type
Yeah,
money.
that's true. That's very true. Just to say they have it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, honestly, I mean that you start thinking about like some of the even the technologies that we have today that is in the public knowledge or whatever. You know what I mean? Um, it's quite possible it was influenced by something from not here.
Yeah, I don't believe if I believe in aliens or not. It's still something that I do keep my mind open.
Well, let me ask you this: when you look outside on a clear night and you see all those little lights up in the sky,
Hmm.
do you think none of them has got something even that could support any kind of life? You don't think any of them up there got something?
I don't know. That's why I keep my mind open.
Well, I mean, I think it would be naive to think that we're the only ones out there.
Well, and
You
that's
know,
true. That's very true. Um,
because I mean, seriously, I mean, and there's much more to all this that we can see. You know what I mean? There's not only just other universes out there. It's quite possibly other dimensions also. Even, I mean, the math all works out when it comes down to physics. So I mean, there's other dimensions out there too. So I mean, uh, there's all kinds of life. It just might not be the type of life that we see in the fucking movies. It's not going to be ET. Who knows? You know what I
no,
mean?
no. There's no
But
telling. We could have been absorbed for hundreds and hundreds of years from up there.
well, I'll tell you, man. I don't know if I probably have told you this story before, but I mean, there was one time I was in living in New Mexico, and uh, we went to a friend's party at his house,
Hmm.
and there was a bunch of people that came over there. Were all like musicians and shit. So there was a lot of people playing music and shit like that. And there's these two guys that came together, and they one of them played a cello, one of them and played bass guitar. And actually, the guy that played bass actually makes bass guitars and stuff. He actually builds them.
Mm.
But and the guy that played the cello, all right, this guy, I had a conversation with him out there on like the porch, the front porch type of thing. And I was sitting out there talking to him, and it made me at ever since that conversation, I've always had this question or this doubt in my mind. All right. Let's say, just for shits and giggles, let's just say for shits and giggles that there are other beings from other places other than this earth living amongst us right now. They look like us, they act like us. I mean, but they're not us. They're not
Hmm.
humans or whatever, but they are living all amongst us, all right now.
Hmm.
I and this guy made me wonder. All right, now if this guy is not from this planet, for instance, not from this, not even from this universe or whatever, and he didn't tell me he was from Alpha Centauri or whatever, whatever, if he didn't tell me this, would I know it? You know what I mean? Um,
Are you saying that he told you that?
no, he
Well,
didn't.
what was it about him that made you think he
Okay,
was different?
all right. The best way I can explain it is like, okay, for instance, we all put off like a vibration, like kind of like a vibe or whatever you want to call it. All
Mm-hmm.
of us put off this vibration. All right. Well, the vibration that I was picking up off of this dude was completely unfamiliar. I don't claim that I've been everywhere and seen everything, but it was unfamiliar.
Hmm.
All right. And then also at the time when I was sitting there talking to him, um, every once in a while, I would get like a flash, like a flash of an image in my eyes, and I mean, of like a place. And like I said, I cannot claim that I've seen and done and been everywhere, but this was a place was unfamiliar to me. I've never seen this thing before. It was like a snapshot that just flashed in my mind.
Hmm.
And this is while I'm sitting there talking to the guy. And and uh and some of the stuff
That's
that he would
interesting.
say, well, and some of the stuff that he would talk about also, it was just like, I was saying, kind of general stuff like, so where you been, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, I've been here for a long, long time, that kind of stuff. And
Was he
and
old?
well, I mean, he was older than me, but I mean, he wasn't old, I guess. I mean, he's
Hmm.
probably in, I don't know, 40s or 50s or something. I don't know.
That
I
wasn't
can't
very
remember. I
old.
mean, I only met the guy that one time at that house, that party at the house. So I mean, but ever since I had that conversation with the guy, it made me wonder, um, if like for instance, you're just having a conversation with somebody and they didn't tell you, it's like, oh, by the way, I'm from Alpha Centauri, you
Hmm.
know. If they didn't never tell you that, would you ever guess it, or could you ever sense it in a sense? And
Maybe you're
and that was
just more sensitive to that kind of a thing, though.
well, it's, I think we all have that ability. It's just, I guess, you have to exercise it and train yourself into actually, in some aspects. Because I mean, I think it's all natural, something that we naturally all possess.
Hmm.
But when it comes down to the vibe, for instance, like I said, it was just not familiar to me. So I mean, but it made me think about the like, beings or astronauts from another fucking planet somewhere. You know what I mean? That have been living amongst us for hundreds of years, thousands of years, or whatever. And if they all look like us, how would you know? You know.
Well, we wouldn't. I just think you're more open because you're more open-minded to picking up certain vibes from different people. I think you really have to have a very open mind to be able to do that. It's interesting. I
Well,
don't dispute what you're saying at all.
I mean, no, it's more of a question on my end of it. It's like,
Hmm.
if you caught yourself in a situation, where, I mean, there's that crazy talk like conspiracy theory, all the lizard people and shit, right? All right.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, I remember when I was living in New Mexico, there's a place, a town, I can't remember where it is, whatever, but it's a place outside of Corona, New Mexico. And I've heard this from like I probably about a dozen different people from, don't have no contact with, never even met each other before. None of these people actually had any reason to lie to me about it either, but they all told me basically the same story. And there's a town just outside of Corona that the whole fucking town are lizard people.
Yeah, I don't believe in
And
the lizard people thing. I don't even know what it is.
it's basically an alien race that are living amongst us that are technically reptiles, but they look like us.
Yeah, I have a real problem with that one.
Well, I mean, as
Why do
far as
aliens have to be lizard people?
well, I mean, that just happens to be another race. It's just another race. I mean,
Hmm.
like the gray, big-eyed looking things that you see, like when you think of aliens, or even like the ET type of shit or whatever. Those are just different species, different races. You know what I mean? I'm from. I mean, according to like the was it the was it the um Galactic Federation or whatever, they claim there's 7 different races that been basically living on this planet at the same time we are now. You
Hmm.
know, I mean, for thousands of years. Um, and the grays, the little gray ones, are supposedly from the future.
Hmm.
Um,
I've never heard that.
well, they're the ones helping out with some of the technology. And then also the reptiles are actually helping out with some of the technology in return for humans.
That's some really deep thinking and acceptance.
Well,
I don't think I'm that deep a thinker.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. If you dig into those, into that, into that stuff, that really, um, there's too much stuff out there from creditable people.
Hmm.
I don't know, to say it's all bullshit.
No, I don't think everything can be dismissed for sure. It's getting late for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump off. But I really enjoyed this, and thank you for letting me up and trusting me. I think I did pretty good tonight, better than the last time.
Yeah,
At
I
least
just
you didn't get,
got to keep a leash on you. That's all it
yeah,
is.
just a little, just every now and then just yank it, and I get back and, straighten up. All right, but I did enjoy this. Thank you for having me up, and have a really good night. And thank you, chat, for being here and stay here. And somebody come up and keep Wingnut company. All
Either that,
right.
either that. Yeah, go ahead. So I'll catch you later.
Yeah, nice talking with you. Bye bye.
And like I said, either that or I mean, if you guys want somewhere to just hang out, I can open up the backstage, man, and just close this down, and we can sit back there and talk. I don't know if anybody wanted to do that. I mean, I'm up for that too. Because I mean, just sitting up here by myself, I feel like I'm talking to myself when I'm just sitting up here by myself. I mean, I know you guys are down there in the chat, but I feel like I'm just sitting there talking to myself when it's just me here. But if like Huckleberry, if you wanted to come up, I don't know, man, you can hang out in the backstage or whatever. I don't know. If you guys want to, man, let me know. If you guys are up for anything like that, let me know. I mean, I'll just put the link in the chat, and then I'll close this down. And if anybody wants to come in, we'll sit backstage. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just bored. YouTube was boring me. You gonna make a sandwich? It's like, man, that's what I need, Virginia, man. Virginia needs to come over here and make me a damn sandwich. Well, see, that's the thing. Silver, I'm gonna tell you, you know, the fallen angels, the Anunnaki, all of them stuff, they are not of this earth. So therefore they are aliens. I mean, it doesn't matter if they come from another planet, another solar system, another universe, another dimension. They're technically not of this earth, so therefore they are aliens. So, I mean, aliens have been around forever. Um, I mean, there's so many different civilizations in the past that talk about the sky people and stuff like that. And, so And the more advanced we get with damn nukes and stuff like that, the more they get involved, the ones that are from not from here. Because I mean, from what I understand, from my little digging that I've done, you know, when nuclear type uh, tests are happening or explosions happen or whatever, it affects their navigation systems in the vehicles that they use. So they were very interested in that shit because it rips into the fabric of time. The Watchers, yeah. I mean, technically, like I said, if you get down to the nitty gritty, they're not of this earth, so therefore they're aliens. You can call them whatever you want to call them, but when it comes down to it, they're non-terrestrial. So wherever they come from, wherever they are from, it's a whole nother thing. I mean, like I said, they can come from another universe, a parallel dimension, parallel universe, or a fucking, whatever, another damn planet somewhere. Because you think about it, I mean, anything outside the norm would look like, you know, make you look like gods. I mean, can you imagine back in the day, going way, way back into the past and bringing yourself like a Bic lighter with you and showing somebody that's never made fire or never, or show somebody you can make fire and stuff like that before they could, it's like that'd be like you'd be like a god to those people, you know. Time travel is not linear, so um I'm pretty sure time travel has been invented, and maybe not yet, but it has been. It has been invented it's been invented in the future. Um, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of different instances where, in the way I see things, that in my view, it's evidence, that there are time travelers out there. And I mean, that's not just for this universe, this plane, for multiple different ones, multiple dimensions. I mean, shit. I mean, and there's still so much to learn and so much to discover. But as the physics and quantum physics and all that stuff, really, how their math works as it stands now, those things do exist. Multiple universes, multiple dimensions, and that is a reality according to the math and science. And we're still very, very young when it comes down to a lot of that stuff. I mean, there's still so much that we haven't really don't know, because we're basically three-dimensional beings looking at the world in a two-dimensional plane. And that's really, we're not, if we can't get out of the two dimensions and shit like that, we really won't be able to see the whole story, in my opinion. So where do you think we come from? Well, okay, I believe that we've been here the whole time, but I also think that um, we've had nudges along the way by all these other interested parties from other places. Because even in, like, even in scripture and stuff like that, they talk, when it comes down to influencing and having children with the beings that were here already. Basically making chimera and and you know genetic tinkering for sure. You know, like I said, I think we've been here the whole time, we as humans or whatever. But I think also there has been nudges along the way. Um, and I also think that we've had many different moments, cycles. You know, I'm sure there has been a reset in a sense a number of times. Right now, it's just trying to remember what we've forgotten. But that's not profitable, man. I was sitting there thinking about that earlier today. Somebody was saying something, talking about who was it? It was Black. It was Autumn. I was sitting there watching her, and and it seems like the if freedom was actually profitable, um, versus slavery, if freedom was more profitable than slavery, um, I really do think that it would be the powers that should not be that are in power right now. They wouldn't stand a chance. They'd go out of business. They become bankrupt. I don't know. Just one of those crazy talk fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, see, that's why I was sitting. That's what sucks, Tate. You know what I mean? They can't put a fucking meter on it. Um, that's the thing. It's like, that's the reason why there's no cures for anything. It's not profitable. That's why things that don't are not built to last anymore because it's not profitable. That's why freedom doesn't get a foothold because it's not profitable. You know. Oh, good night. Good night. Good night. I don't know, man. I wish you guys could see this fucking stars like I can see them. It sucks. Cause I got a good clear night tonight. You have a good one, Silver. Well, debating on if even if I should stick around or not. I don't know. I want to give a spot for somebody for people to hang out in, but I'm debating on if I just fucking sit here and talk to my, basically, unless somebody comes up on panel, I'm basically just talking to you guys in chat, and it feels like I'm talking to myself though, because I don't have that voice feedback. What is that? Well, what's up, Tate?
Are we still on YouTube? It's fine if it is.
Well,
It's
I
fine.
mean, okay, it don't matter. I mean, I can always take it all. We can always
No,
go
it's
into
fine.
backstage, doesn't
It's fine.
it?
I just wanted to show you for real. You can tell I'm pretty hoarse. I've freaking got like I, I started coughing last night. Like we was in there till like late. You know how we do. Sometimes you're
Yeah,
there, and I was
yeah.
just sitting there, and it wasn't anybody. It wasn't a lot of talking really. It was just something. I went to breathing something in, and my sinuses went to draining. I'm not sick like like ill in my body. I feel fine. I ate like supper and lunchtime and all that stuff that like normal. Didn't have any kind of aversion to eating or anything. So I ain't sick like with a flu or whatever. I ain't got no fever, but man, my throat shit, man, it's killing me. But I just wanted to show you. I don't mind hanging out. I can't see the YouTube side, but I don't really care. I'm not scared to do it. I figured I'd do it for you.
Oh
But
yeah, I appreciate it, man.
I can't really say a lot like I normally would though, so that's why I was typing all that stuff because it would be
That's
better.
fine. That's fine. Like I said, I mean, we can always sit backstage and stuff like that instead, and
Yeah,
and and do what like.
it probably ain't gonna happen, but if they start pouring in your live stream out there, you let me know. I don't
No,
think it.
it
It
depends
probably
on.
won't.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you, man. For a while there, man, there was a few years, man, and I mean, I haven't really noticed too much because I've been kind of um I haven't really been talking about it too much, but it depending on what type of subjects I was talking about,
Hmm.
um, glitches would happen,
Yeah.
and it got to the point where it was just too coincidental to be coincidence kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and so I don't know.
Okay.
It was getting kind of heavy for a while there, man. I got in YouTube jail a few times, and I've had a lot of videos deleted, um, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. There's been some people been recovering their channels. I noticed recently. I've seen it happen in action. Like I ain't gonna dox nobody. I seen somebody I know got her old channel back by accident. It seemed like almost by accident because YouTube was restoring stuff back to people that they couldn't get in it and stuff like that. And that wasn't the only person. They were doing something here a couple of weeks ago. They were shaking up the algorithm or something on what they was doing. But
I wish I can get my videos back. That would be kind of
that,
nice.
that, that's what that person did. And I won't say no more because I don't like talking about people's business. But that's what that person did. They was steadily downloading their stuff that they thought they'd lost forever. You know, and when I
I mean, it would be kind of cool if I had backups of everything, but I don't.
hmm
Um, I wish I did because there was a lot. I was doing a lot of rabbit hole type of shit, or a lot of like digging and stuff. Um and a lot of the stuff that I was coming up with, because I mean, this is around the time when all that the cupcake and all that shit was fucking going around a few years back. I was doing, like 2019. I was sitting there doing a lot of research on virology and epidemiology and then reading a lot about white papers and shit and some of the medical stuff that I mean, I'm not a doctor and I never went to school for that stuff. So I mean, I can somewhat understand. I mean, there's some things that I'm not fully, um, I fully understand because I don't really. I'd have to do more research on the subject, for instance.
Mhm.
But there's so much stuff that I was trying to share, and or at least put the stuff out there.
Right,
And I had so many damn videos deleted claiming medical misinformation.
right.
You know,
They still try to do that in some platforms. They're not doing it as bad as they were. But now it's like just on X, for example, over there on that platform, you won't get taken down, but you'll get a little community note like, well, we fact checked what you're saying, and we don't. It's an opinion of the board that this is not necessarily the facts. But I'm serious. I see it done on facts. Like, so they're still doing it. It's just that gentle persuasion, those little nudges you were talking about. Like,
yep,
if anybody sources information, not you or me, I'm talking about people out in the world with Wikipedia, they're literally reading propaganda because anybody can upload something to Wikipedia. Any
yep,
Tom, Dick, or Harry, Jane, Sue, or Molly can go on there and just put their opinion in there and upload it without so because it's on Wikipedia, it gets recommended by Google and other platforms. They default to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia's fiction mostly. There's some stuff on there that's true, but it's the basic stuff, like uh, something like I can't think of a good example, like mudslides occur when heavy rain downpour comes in slopey areas. Well, that'd be true on Wikipedia, right? But
yeah,
if it's an opinion piece from some doctor from Japan who's telling you that this, and this is true, and he's got 20, 30 of his peers saying it's true, Wikipedia might say, well, these doctors, they don't know what they're talking about. They won't say those words, but they'll put another doctor, one of the propagandist doctors up there and tout that doctor's opinion over the ones that are telling the truth. You see, it's massive, still, but when it comes to outright just the words that we were saying, they're not doing that as much anymore. They're not going after people just saying terms as much as when they post something that's been published that's facts. That they're still trying to fact check that shit with Wikipedia and other. There's like 4 other services that do that. Anyway, I better shut up. I hurt my throat.
no, it's like the Ministry of Thought. I was sitting there talking to this guy that lives over in the UK, and some of the stuff that they're doing over there when it comes down to just you know uh, not thinking the right way, that kind of thing. Almost kind of like how they did over in Canada
Uh-huh.
with fucking Jordan Peterson. All that wrong thing. He needs to go back into a re-education type of a camp. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's basically what that is. Is like,
the Ministry of Thought.
yeah,
Basically.
they try to. Well, look, if you got 100 people, like just picture like one state in this country that just say it had 100 people in it. It was the size of like a county in Florida or Texas or something, and it had 100 people in it. And it was a whole state, and 99 of those people could be guided back to the way they want them to think. Right? Well, scale that up to 300 million people. They don't need all of us. They just need to guide those few useful idiots back into the line they need them in. That's why they do that. That's why that gentle persuasion, to follow. That's why they do it. It's because they don't require for their motives to continue and their ideology to continue being prevalent. They've got the media, the mainstream media. Of course, we know that to push it constantly on us people. And then when people do their own searches, if they have half a brain enough to try, all it takes is for most, like say teenagers, to see it's on Wikipedia, Dad. It's just on Wikipedia. You can just hear them, right? Because Wikipedia knows so much more than mom and dad do, right? That's what I mean when I say that we live in a world where people want pre-masticated or pre-chewed solutions. They want somebody to do their thinking for them, and they don't really want that. But that's what's been done since 2005. Gradually, little by little, it's gotten more prevalent since 2005. So when the smartphone, like true supercomputer in the palm of your hand, came out, that's when that started. That guiding people back to where they want them to think, their line of thinking. And we talk about discernment all the time. People have to have discernment, and we do. All of our group, our family, or whatever, we have discernment. But we tell people we can, and hope they attempt to find the same discernment, because there is no encyclopedia that you can flip open and get all the answers from. There never was, even before computers. Like there was always error, human error, and discovery still to be made. But did y'all see that post from the president from True Social this morning?
No.
I'm not gonna try to talk about politics. He finally broached the topic of um, that thing that they did in Star Trek. That they made their ship go that fast.
Yeah.
Operation. Okay, he finally mentioned that, and he alluded to if he's been lied to, he wants to know. He said they show him numbers. Big Pharma and him show him numbers that he saw. I'm not letting him off the hook. I'm saying he's actually broached the topic. I've been waiting for him to do that for a while. He should have mentioned this before, because there's no way that they don't know. You know what I mean? There's no way. But to be like politically out in the open with it is a big step. You know.
Well, all right. All right. I start thinking about, all right. I start thinking about like uh, the stealth bomber.
Hmm.
The stealth bomber was in use and in service for, I think, over 20 years before they made it public.
About the Blackbird. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So when I hear what you just said, what makes me
Mhm.
think of how long any of these things were in use and in service before even thinking about making it public.
Absolutely.
So,
I don't trust it either. I'm just saying it's a big step to see that being talked about. Because that's been getting hid all this time by his angle, because that was his name. He gave that shit. Obviously he didn't do it, like physically do the shit, but he, you know, for like 3 4 years he's been defending that shit. But we know what happened. Everybody knows. you know, you can't blow smoke up my butt and tell me that saying that just now he's seeing that it may not be good. It may not have been a good thing is bullshit. Everybody knows that was. We won't say all that like live or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. That everybody knows. I mean, the world around the world knows what happened. I mean, know what they tried to do. So I'll get you shut down when
nah, I
I
ain't
don't
worried
have.
about it. That's why, I
I
mean,
don't
that's
have.
why I'm not as concerned on this channel anyway.
I'm not a.
You know what I'm saying? I've got way too much content on my main channel for it to get,
Right.
what I mean? I'm pretty open, I'm pretty straightforward in a lot of stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I honestly, there's a lot of, I just don't give a shit.
Right.
Right. But I'm,
It's still respectful though for me not to say stuff that might get you. See, because I don't. I'm.
I
I,
guess,
this is the first
yeah.
time I've done this, and I was going to do it another time, but I just wanted to show you that I wasn't being like not letting.
Yeah. No,
It's a
Snook
man
is the
thing.
one that was fucking talking shit.
I know it's a man thing though. I wouldn't have felt right if I'd have told you that shit, and the next time you talk to me, even if it's a week now, I don't sound like I know. I would have felt bad. So I wanted to prove it to you, you know. But it is a bad idea because we're not necessarily dealing with to talk about some stuff because openly like that because they ain't gonna shut us down. Or when I say they, I mean the other side, the powers that be, like in office, might not like it too much, right? That's what I'm saying. We're not giving, probably wouldn't be YouTube, it'd be, you know, and it might get you in some kind of stink with them, you know, and that,
Like
'cause
I said, I'm never.
that's fresh off the press, you know what I mean? It ain't like it's only 24 and even 24-hour old report, and I'm already stabbing holes in that shit, you know. And etiquette on YouTube is something that's new to me. I know I've heard many thousands of streams, but and I know how to type, know how to keep my words guarded in chat with conversation in letter form. But when it comes to me and you go back there and spend hours, and we don't have any filter because we ain't got to worry about none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say something. I know things that I shouldn't know. We all do know things that we really shouldn't be saying, even though we're not scared. You know,
Well,
not
see,
being
that's the
careful.
thing too. It's like, I don't like the idea of having to. Um,
Self censorship. Yeah.
uh, that's the thing, and that's their plan,
Hmm.
is to get us so afraid to
Right.
where we do self censor ourselves,
Yep.
and they won't have to do it. You know what I mean? We do it to
Right.
ourselves.
You're right.
Um,
Mm-mm. I'm just showing respect in the sense where hey, we sat near. I go on panel for the first time in my life, right? And then suddenly, boom, and you lose your backup channel. That I would never
yeah,
live that shit down. I would never live it
like I
down.
said, like I said, I'm not worried about it. I mean, they're so easy to create. Like I said, I've got backup channels just for the reasons, because you know, there was a, it's not as bad lately. I mean, but plus I'm not doing a whole lot on my channels, that really is risque, I guess you can say.
Yeah,
Because years ago, and all that stuff. I mean, I've done a lot of different stuff over the years, and because there's been a lot of different things going on in the past. This year, I think, like I said, I think Anarchy Television I've had since 2016, and
yeah,
I have a couple other channels that came before that I don't even use anymore. I don't even have access to it anymore, but they're still around. And but so I mean, the different stuff that I've seen over the years, and the different things that've been going on in the past those few years. Like, different presidents and, this and that or whatever, this damn stupid, uh,
yeah.
the code shit, whatever, all that stuff.
Hmm.
And then trying to get information out. Like I said, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I've tried to put out that's old information, stuff that people have been trying to tell us for years.
Right.
Just remind them. It's like, listen, this is voices from the past that have been trying to tell us for a long fucking time here.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and then also trying to give out new information of like when this stuff was coming out of the mRNA stuff, man, stuff that I was coming out with, when it comes down to what different doctors were saying, different people that are in that field were saying, and stuff like that were getting hushed up and blocked and all this other stuff, man. You know um because there have been a few out there that are not with us right now, simply because they were trying to whistleblow in a
Yeah.
sense, and so I just I've asked this question before. It's like, okay, with the with so many people waking up and
Mhm.
opening, and seeing, um seeing what's really out there, whatever, and um it makes me wonder what the other side, the powers that should not be, what they'll do to put us back to sleep.
They're gonna
What
try.
I
They,
know, and
they
and what
just
what 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 would
what would do that? You know what I mean? What would they have to do that? And and um and I start thinking about, like, the stuff that they're ramping up. I mean, this is like one of those crazy talk type of things. Like, for instance, the stuff that's going on with the federalizing the fucking National Guard, and then start, spreading that same idea they did in D.C. and spread that all over to a different bunch of different cities all over the place. I just think that could be just the stepping stones to a martial law, or they're ramping up to get their infrastructure and the logistics in place for when they do create some kind of big thing, bigger than the last thing that happened a few years ago. Um, you
Yeah,
know,
it could be. Um,
because you got to think about it, it's like that was a test run. So they figured out where their weak points are, what they've got to actually, get in place before it happens again, that kind of thing.
hmm
Uh, so, and
Hopefully,
they've been talking about it, and
but it, their psyops aren't working like they want them to. They're falling short. Like with the alien thing, the nuclear craft that's coming towards the planet. 95% of
well,
people are.
you remember when I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but remember when Hale Bop was
Yeah,
coming around, and there was supposedly a crap behind that, and
right.
like even people killed themselves. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
old random. Oh, just
Yeah,
what's the name of? Applewhite, or Marshall Applewhite, I think was that dude's name. All them people drank the Kool-Aid, and
right.
they he told me, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think of things like that when I hear this story about what's supposedly heading our direction.
Because
Um,
I went, my mind went, I don't know what's out there. I'm no better than the next guy or woman or man out there. I'm not no smarter or no more wiser or whatever. But the first thing that popped in my head is, why would they be using nuclear? If they're so advanced, and also why would it be leaking so we could detect it? A properly tuned nuclear reactor don't leak outside like a few hundred feet, right?
well, not only that, man. If you're doing any kind of interstellar travel, um, I don't think they have like an interstellar tow truck to come pick your ass up if you break down.
It'd be uh, hypothetically, it's just totally off the cuff. Hypothetically, there's some substance in fact, but it would be some kind of plasma drive or some kind of uh, I don't know. I go out on a limb and say some kind of black hole drive, some kind of captured star, some kind of world ship. It would have to be. It would be the size of, say, a moon. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wouldn't be tiny, or it wouldn't stand up to the whatever's out there. In kind of incoming space debris and strikes and things like that, and it would have to last for centuries, probably. So it would be so big that we wouldn't be able to not see it coming. You know what I mean? Anyway, if they were coming here and they were going to come visit and they were making a beeline for us, we didn't know about it back in the '60s or even further back than that. You know, and who knows? Maybe they did, but it seems very convenient that suddenly there's a ship coming and it's nuclear powered, right? I just don't. That's bullcrap, because I mean, I can imagine some advanced race. They'd have to be very advanced in order to make the trip, right? They would still be using nuclear power, because fission and fusion are rudimentary. We've got better than that already with electrogravitics. We've already got electromagnetic gravitics already here. So why would they use nuclear?
It's Jesus coming back, man.
Yeah, well, they've had that plan in place since 1962. They wanted to they wanted to shoot in the early declassified JFK CIA stuff. They wanted to shoot like what holograms of what looked like the second coming of Christ on the east side of Cuba, or vice versa. I can't remember which side it was, and make landfall at the Bay of Pigs on the other side. And that was actually a official plan put in front of JFK when he decided what to do. We remember the Bay of Pigs disaster, right? But
Hmm.
we know about that in history. But they actually asked him, the Central Intelligence Agency, if he wanted them to beam holograms of the second coming of Christ, Jesus cracking through the sky, if they could do that then with holograms.
Hmm.
Imagine what they could do now. And I don't think they would have put the plan in front of him if they wouldn't have at least believed that they could make the deadline. Just to say, for argument's sake, they didn't have the equipment ready. They would never have made an official document to put in front of the president because he was the last of the presidents that was, like pretty much fairly elected type. Every one of them after him has been selected. We know that. We grew up in it. Most of us are old enough to remember at least back to Reagan's time, and we've seen the. Won't get off into those weeds, but my point is, they were planning that back in the '60s to use that on a little island like Cuba because all the people there were very Catholic or Christian or whatever, and they believed that they'd all be looking that way. Even the Marxist terrorists under Castro would be looking that way, and they would be able to just make the beachhead and take the place. And who knows if it would have worked, but that was an actual plan. I digress. It was insane, but it was.
Yeah.
About all them ghost stories. Now we know that since the '60s and '70s, like somewhere in the mid '70s, people started seeing ghosts, and they started making movies about them. Remember that? Like
Hmm.
some of the movies were based on what was said called actual events. But they could make ghosts with holograms back in the '70s, right? It was on the market. It was just a smoke machine and a beam of light, but it was still, if it was done right, it could look very real, like floating down the staircase or whatever. It, you know, and that's probably what technology they were going to use. It was like mist and cloud production, and then beam that light, shine that big hologram on them clouds, and it wouldn't took but just like a 10-minute distraction. It wouldn't have took long. And so, yeah, it's insane. If they were willing to go to those lengths, then they may do something else. I think this alien invasion thing has been in the works. This fake alien invasion thing has been in the plans for many, many years. That's why you ever notice how on late night back in the day, late night HBO or like, Prime Star, then Derek TV, then Dish Network, and even up to now, all these apps and services, you can still find all the UFO documentaries, and some of that stuff really good. Some of those journalists type seekers are real serious about it, and they give it a real treatise on. They try to treat it like a real subject and topic, but they're all being manipulated, by the same group of spooks that they want that information out there, right? They want people to believe that there is more to it than there actually is. Now, I will say that I believe there is something to some of it for certain, but if they wanted to take this planet and they were as advanced as they'd have to be, they could have done that a long time ago. They wouldn't
Well,
be
who's
nowhere.
to say they haven't already? You know what I mean?
I concur with that. It could be, but I mean, nothing. If they were so advanced, they could just jump through intergalactic space and pop around like in so many Avengers movies and Star Trek, and there would be no kind of defense we could muster that could stop a race like that. They could just gas us from orbit or something, put us all to sleep, kill us,
Just
calcify us, you know, whatever they want to do. They
just
wouldn't have
hurt,
to.
hurl a big rock at us,
Exactly. Slingshot around the moon with it.
right?
Let it go. Yep. That's what. There's lots of things. So I told somebody a while back, and it's just my opinion. And I'm standing on other people's shoulders. I'm standing on other UFO researchers' shoulders. I'm not just making this up off the cuff, but in my opinion, the only thing here that would attract a race that's like a million years ahead of us is genetic material. DNA, an abundance of life in our biosphere, from the millions and billions of insects all the way up, quote unquote, the food chain until you get to elephants and blue whales. And now I know that we're supposedly like higher in the organisms than they are. I'm talking about size from the tiniest to the biggest. You know, they would have an abundance of genetic material to tinker with if they were curious, or if they were scientists, or if they whatever. If they wanted to, it doesn't matter. You can just use your imagination. The only thing that's here that they can't get, they can get anything else here from out there better than they can here, because landing here with a ozone layer and breaking free of the gravity and all that would probably be hard on their ships, on their craft. So they would just get all their iron and their nickel and their gold and their silver, anything they needed like that out there in the cosmos. It's just rolling around out there all over in asteroid belts and, broken up old planets. It's everywhere. There's no minerals that they would come here for, not in my opinion, because there's
Well,
more out there.
well, all right. Now, like I said, this is, I can't confirm or deny this or whatever, but this is a story I've heard. All right. Some of the reasons why some of these other beings did come to this planet is because on their planet, gold is actually pretty rare. And they need gold in their atmosphere for it to work right. And we have an abundance of gold on this planet,
Right.
and that's the reason why they came here, so they can get the gold from this planet and then restore their own,
And
restore the atmosphere. They make it into like dust particles and put it in the atmosphere and stuff, whatever.
yeah, I've read that stuff, and I don't think it's just all a bunch of bullshit. I think some ancient race did come here and meddle with the creatures that lived here. I'll go so far as to say that. But I'm of the opinion that race, that group, that particular group came from a nearby body of nearby planet that was dying, being destroyed.
It
They
could have
came
been.
here,
It could be.
they came to save their planet, but they didn't make it back in time, and so they just stayed here. That's what I believe.
It's
That's
very
what,
possible. It's very possible.
because
Um,
why would they mine gold here with all that labor intense work, even if they had technology, when they could just lasso an asteroid or a meteor? There's plenty of them out there that's loaded with gold and silver and platinum and all those metals. I mean, we can see them from here with our telescopes, our deep space telescopes. We can see the veins along the sides and out there in the Kuiper Belt and in the Oort cloud. We can see them, you know. So if they came here, they had no choice. They were so close to us that it was easier for them to come here than to go out to them. You know what I mean? So the only culprit will be Mars, in my opinion. And it's got what we can see of it, something very large struck it, but did not destroy it. And if we see that big, what looks like a big lightning bolt strike on the side of Mars, everybody's seen it. It makes the Grand Canyon look tiny. You know, something hit that planet, a glancing blow. Now, it didn't kill everything; it just shook it out of orbit, like spun its orbit and destroyed its ozone layer. And they were still there, living underground in buildings or whatever. Is my opinion. If this all is true, they came from Mars, and that's why we have um, our astronauts have been clocked to go back to a Mars clock in their body, out of their circadian rhythms. If they spend too much time in orbit of this planet over a year, they go on Mars time, and that don't make any sense because they're tethered to Earth's gravity. The only way that would make sense, if this is true and that actually happens, is if genetically we came from there first, far back as you can go, or it's been bred into us from antiquity. So
mhm.
that's what I base my theory. It's a hypothesis, is what it is. I base it on that because I don't trust NASA either, you know. But if there actually are, their bodies are going on Mars time, which is what 20, it's farther out, right, from the sun. So it's like 27 hours, something like that. You know, our clock, 25.5, 26. And after about a year or less, even their body starts switching, reverting to a Mars clock. They don't nobody call it that, but that's strange because they're not far enough out from Earth's orbit and gravity, the gravity well, to make them switch to a distant planet's circadian rhythm, hypothetical circadian rhythm of the body. So that's a lot of evidence right there that there's something weird about Earth and Mars. And I saw the pictures. I'm sure you may have seen them too. I've seen photo evidence that released that they found a door, like an ancient door on Mars. And there's been people since way back when that said there was one there, and there was other monuments there. And there's definitely something on the moon of Phobos because you can get a big enough telescope, you can see that yourself. It sticks up miles off the surface. like a tower, or like a massive obelisk or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's all very interesting stuff for me. I don't
It,
just go
it'd be
ahead.
a perfect place for a black site, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. And the
That's
moon,
what
I believe.
that's exactly what I think about the moon too. When it comes down to it, like that's why they. I think that's one of the reasons because I mean, that's what drives me nuts about Star Trek and Star Wars and all that stuff. All that is mostly, I mean, except Star Wars, but all that is all military ships. Like
Mm,
Star Trek and all that stuff. They're all military or government.
right, the
They're not. They're not.
USS.
Yeah, they're not civilians. Just out and
Yeah,
about. You know what I mean? Um, and I started thinking about like, for instance, like how they're talking about making a moon base that will so they can jump from there to Mars. That's what Elon was talking about and all that stuff. What he wants to do. And I started thinking about, okay, who's going to control that? It's going to be most likely corporations, and which going to be, that would control the governments that will control everything. So the corporation will be in control, really, and how that's going to work out, how what that job site would look like, you
right.
know, and and it would be the perfect place, other than like in the deepest part of the oceans or Antarctica. That would be the other ultimate place to put like a black site, like some sci-fi movies, they use them, these distant places like that as like a prison, for like
Yeah,
the people that you really want to get rid of. You just
right.
shoot them in a rocket out to this fucking prison out on another planet somewhere.
Hmm.
uh you know
Yep.
but
I will say, mm, I will
but I
say
mean,
this.
it's just like NASA's been screwing us out of a shitload of fucking money. We have gotten zero out of NASA.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, what have we benefited from? What have we benefited from, NASA or CERN? Those are the two things right there that have spent it, that get a lot of money pumped into it. But what it has anything produced out of it that has benefited the regular people? I mean,
yeah. Like they stopped. They finally rich entrepreneurs and do-gooders and billionaires and stuff finally stopped pumping money into SETI. I mean, I'm not a radio guy like you, but
right.
I got enough sense to know those big parabolic dishes are more of in a receiving mode.
Yeah.
Why aren't they sending signals out there? Why are they just wanting to wait to receive? Once
Well,
every day it comes to just the right point where they could be listening, right? And the
well,
rest of the day they're just not. They've just been pumping money into that crap for decades and nothing ever come of it. Just
well.
like trying
Okay.
to find a needle in a haystack.
Well, for me personally, um, I would rather listen than transmit, because quite honestly, I'm not sure who's going to be listening to my transmission. All right,
Yeah,
and and they could be friendly, they could be hostile. I don't know, but
yeah. We'll
now
see.
they know. Now they know where I live because they've traced
Yeah,
me back to where I transmitted from. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I could say the same thing. That's what they're probably thinking on their end too. You know what I mean? Who's
Well,
to
that's
say?
the thing, though. It's
You know?
called the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Are they searching or not? You know, and here's the
Right.
thing: all that money pumped in there, and you remember something supposedly occurred in 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico, outside of there, and they built the big Arecibo array right on top of what happened there. They put this big array of those parabolic up, looking up radio. Um, what wavelength is that in? That's megawatt. No, it's a certain type of radio frequency. It's only limited to the one. They don't use but one frequency, right? They're listening to it in that frequency, and that's it. They may scroll through those different frequencies on that one type, one setting, but that's it. And the big arrays like that, they're only pointing up. Why would they build it right there if nothing happened? That's what I was getting at. Why would they
Mhm.
put it right there if they didn't find something or something didn't happen? And I don't think they found what we think they did. I think they found some kind of ancient structure or something buried or something
Well,
like that.
it's quite possible that's what I mean. There's a lot of people that kind of lean toward this type. Also, it's like if you if you if you think that the stories of Atlantis is real, it's
Hmm.
probably most likely sitting underneath all that ice over in Antarctica. And that's
Yeah.
probably one of the reasons why there's so many governments that are involved in keeping it very secret over there,
Hmm.
because they found something or they are finding stuff. Um, because I mean, it's quite possible that that's exactly when it said it sunk into the ocean. It's quite possible it just got froze up and it's sitting under all that mile of ice on top of it. And and there's no telling. That'd be also the perfect place to observe all of us, and they're out of sight, out of mind because nobody goes there. A very select, government and all that kind of stuff go there. But I mean, other than that, that'd be a perfect place to hide, and just observe, our evolution. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Well,
and where their technology and their advancements doesn't get influence ours. You know what I mean?
it's not. Well, I can say this much: there is something to be said for. There's only one treaty on this planet that all of the big countries that refuse. None. There's no other treaty that all of the countries agree on except for Antarctica. They've all
Yeah, it
signed.
is. It is
They've all
interesting, though,
signed.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. There is no other treaty anywhere that everybody agrees and have signed it, but that one they have, and that includes the communist countries, and
Right.
all of
That's what I'm saying. And that's another thing too. It's like, okay, if it's not for like some nefarious thing, like that's like one of their places where they have black sites, where they know that there's no eyes to watch them do whatever they're doing. All right, that could be one thing.
them.
Or
I think.
it's actually, like I said, it could have been very well. There is stuff that's underneath that ice that's
Mhm.
been hiding away from us, and that's what they're trying to find, or they have found, and they're continuing to study while they're there.
See,
And then
there's a,
also that's another thing too, that there's all kinds of. You think about all the different types of technologies that would be basically illegal here in America, but in Antarctica, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Um, you know,
You remember
it's
the push back? I think it was the late '80s. I might be wrong. There was a big push by the Earth First groups around the world for geothermal energy. Remember that? They were pushing for geothermals and like
right,
tapping volcanoes and stuff like
right,
that.
yeah,
Well, I believe personally that they were using that technology already to build those deep underground military facilities. And if you go in Antarctica, it's freezing ass cold. It's death on the surface in Antarctica. It's too cold for anybody to stay out there more than just a couple of minutes, even in the toughest gear. But if you bore down to the bedrock, to the below the ice and to the rock, and you start digging down, it gets warmer. Just like any other continent. And you can tap a geothermal vent, and you would have unlimited sources of power, right, to power dynamos that would heat and cool the facility.
hmm
And I believe that's when that push in the civilian sector for geothermals, which then later they said, well, they're too expensive. We can't set them up. It's because they were trying to do it up on the surface, right? And they found out how deep they have to go to tap safely, where there's a way they can come in and up out of there without, and monitor the machinery and all that. And all that's possible, but it was so expensive, nobody wanted to switch over to it. So it just kind of faded away, right? You don't see too much geothermal power. But I think that's why it emerged, is because they had already proven it was solid science by building it deep down underground, using it deep underground. It could have something to do. Also, it could be something to do with what we're having all these upheavals all over the planet in the last 5 or 7 years. All these rapid fire earthquakes and seismic shifts. If they're tapping that core somehow, they could be causing upheavals in the crust. You know, we live on a big rock, but it's not as big as all that. You could do damage to it if you went too far. But
Yeah, Mother Nature, if she gets irritated, she'll fucking shake us off like fucking
yeah,
fleas. You know what I'm saying?
that's what I see coming. I'm worried that's what's going to happen. Is mother, she's going to shrug us off, like literally shrug her shoulders. You
Yeah.
know, and
I mean,
that's
that's why I say that there's, it's quite possible there has been that reset a number of times.
hmm
Because I mean, it's just in human nature. We keep on fucking it up somehow or another.
yeah.
It seems like, you know what I mean, and uh, you know,
That's,
there's so many different ways. Like you're talking about, like even just like like volcanic stuff or plate tectonics moving around and stuff like that. Even there's so many different things that can be influenced and artificially done. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I mean, it's like with this, like the earthquake machine.
mhm.
There's a couple other things, just dropping a freaking big bomb in it and creating earthquakes. Whatever.
Can I,
Volcan.
hey, Wingnut, if I type in it where it says comments, will it show up on YouTube or just gonna come in here?
Now it'll come up on YouTube.
Because I've never tried it in Backstage. Oh, I got to connect, so I can't
Yeah.
do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you haven't done it on, yeah, you got to connect and all that stuff. It'll go in. You can type it into the
I'll
YouTube chat.
I'll just say hello, hello, Moonchild. I seen her out there in the chat. I got
Yeah,
to
I
think.
see. I see you out there, Moonshine. Moonchild. What's going on? And
Um, and I mean, I wasn't monitoring it. I was just looking at our icons, because. But she's cool. I like Moonchild. Wouldn't want to miss her. Um, yeah, I wasn't trying to interrupt you though. I needed to ask that because if I pushed that button, it might knock me out of here. I wasn't sure I would push it
no,
until.
no. I mean, no. It's just like instead of putting it in the back chat, you can put it in the regular YouTube chat too. And,
I think if I'd have pushed connect, it'd let me go over there for a second and then pop back in. But it's all
oh
right.
yeah, no, it won't drop you out. It won't drop you out if you're just going to do that kind of thing.
She probably
Um,
heard.
yeah, she heard
Yeah,
you.
she cheers.
Yeah, she's all right. That's what Huckleberry's up there. Yeah, yeah, it's so.
No, like mine. I say her pictures, her pictures over there. She posts on Discord of her little meat cows and stuff. I was thinking about them steaks. I seen them. I seen them. She raises good beef. Moon does bottle feeding it. What she's been doing. Um, I like eating steak, and I got to go to meat market tomorrow. I don't got to. I typically go on Tuesday because, believe it or not, today was a holiday, but my meat market ain't open on Monday, no matter what. So tomorrow, every 2 weeks or whatever, I go and live out of pocket for now. I don't spend a whole bunch of money, but I get enough because I get enough good Texas beef, to keep me for a couple of weeks, and it works out about the same as buying a half a steer or something from somebody and just putting it in a deep freeze. This way, I can keep less. I don't have to keep so much of it in a big deep freeze. The beef
Where,
is what.
where's the beef? Where's the beef?
I I always pick up a couple of pieces of pork or something like that too, because that old retired father I take care of, and mother, y'all know the story already. All three do, but they like to eat little pork and chicken and stuff. But me, I don't hardly touch the stuff. I'll eat bacon and I'll eat sausage and sometimes and I'll eat pork chops, but I ain't too big on none of that. But beef though, I like brisket and all that, and I'll eat all that stuff if I can get it. And the carnivore diet, I'm not bragging. It's easy in Texas as long as you can like afford it, you know, because we got an abundance of freaking meat markets everywhere, right? But other people struggle with the carnivore diet. It's best after you get after 40 to get on the 85% carnivore because it's just better for your body. Keeps you trim. You eat when you're supposed to. You don't get those munchies moments. It kind of fades away once you get off sugar and get on that carnivore. I ain't trying to go on no dietitian rant.
Yeah, sugar is one of the worst drugs out there for me right now.
Refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup is what's wrong with our society for the most part. And I mean that literally. If people, it's like a drug, a serum. They get that rush, that sugar high. And they, as long as they keep getting it, they just keep going back to it.
Oh
Every
yeah,
year, it gets higher and higher content. They put more and more refined sugar and more high fructose corn syrup in everything because they have to, because people don't, they complain, they want more. We was talking about Antarctica and stuff. We're trying to divert that. They they got them deep underground military facilities all over the planet. We know that. I mean, that's been declassified, and some of them may not be but like a half mile deep, but some of them are way deeper and way bigger complexes. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they don't got like that stuff in Antarctica for sure.
yeah,
Because,
yeah. There's things like a neutrino detectors and
mm,
shit like that. There's all kinds of stuff down there. It's supposed, according to this one guy, anyway, whistleblower type guy, whatever. Some of the stuff some of the technology they're using down there.
mhm,
Uh,
they see something when they go down there. Enough
well,
enough stories.
like I said, it's quite possible that they did dig up some old some relics, you know. Um, Supposedly, there's a photograph floating around the internet uh,
Moonchild. She can't do strictly.
of of
Yeah,
something that supposedly crashed out there.
yeah.
And there's like a where you can see where it where it kind of skidded across the snow and got to a stop. And I think even to this day, there's like 5 tanks that are off, a good distance away from it, but they're just sitting there pointed straight at it. You know what I mean? And they've been sitting there for 50 years, I think. But
They wouldn't share. They would
no,
against.
like I said, it's like there's a lot of stuff that like even there was like a pilot that used to pilot supplies and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and he got there's a section of Antarctica that they don't even let anybody fly over. I
Right.
mean, it's like but
No fact.
well, he 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 made a detour one time and went over some of that area, and he saw what he thought were dinosaurs. You know,
Right.
so there's really no telling exact. I mean, there's supposedly a spot out there in Antarctica where there is no ice or no snow. And
Hmm.
there's green, lush plant life and stuff like that, supposedly. But that's the thing. Is like there's too much that they're trying to keep hidden down there from one reason or another. So there's
Yeah.
too much. It's like I said, I can't confirm or deny any of that.
Right.
Like I said,
That's,
it's like a photo that's floating around the internet. Who knows if that's real, And there's
Reagan.
just stories from people that say that their background checks out, and it's like are they lying or are they just talking
Right.
to
It's their
what?
word. It's their word against academia. And it's
Right,
hard.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just that's what drives me nuts about the flat earther people. It's like there's so many damn experiments that could be done, with, and stuff. Just do the experiment. You know what I mean?
Moonchild's talking about
Prove it one
yourself.
way or the other. You know what I mean? I don't
You
really give
feel
a shit one way or the other because it doesn't affect me one way or the other.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
you know,
The thing is that I'll say this. It's meant to be a joke. I read a post about a month, 2 months ago. It's an old post. It's been repeated several times, but it's a real post. It's from like Wikipedia or Google search, and it says on there. It says the flat Earth theory has members spread out all over the globe. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
I
it
mean,
said.
I know, I know, I get it, and I get it. You
The
know,
thing
I
about
mean,
it, I know you
but
get. I'm saying it's freaking hilarious that
I know.
that yeah that legitimizes their existence that they're a group, but they're all around the globe, right? And
Yeah.
somebody thought that was clever. Did you see what she's talking about? Those big skeletons. Hey, I seen
Yeah.
a redacted video or something the other day. They're already trying to talk about that in the mainstream. Say they're hiding them. I've been saying they're hiding them for years. Those
Well, there've been hell there've been different point. There was U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan said they came across a red-haired giant.
hmm
There was um, giant skeletons all over different parts of the world, like that, and like was it there was some up in like was it uh out there by Russia, out in that area, like
Bosnia
uh,
Herzegovina,
oh, I can't remember right offhand.
somewhere right in there. Bosnia Herzegovina, Serbia,
Yeah, it might have
Croatia.
been out. Yeah, it might be out toward Serbia and stuff like that. But anyway, I think there's some that down in South America, um, and also you got the the skeletons with the pointy heads.
Yeah,
Kind of like the cone heads or whatever you want to call them. I don't.
real, whatever they are. Them
And
skulls, real. You know,
yeah, these skulls were not. These were naturally the way they're. They're
right,
natural. They're not artificially done that way.
right.
Because I
They do
mean,
not have.
back in the day, they used to mimic and bind their heads to shape their skulls the same as those.
Yeah,
Those type.
imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and
Right. Well, that's what
those
it
real,
was. Is because
yeah, those real.
evidently those beings that they were very smart and they revered them as like shamans or whatever. You know what
They
I mean?
the real skulls that you're talking about. The
Yeah.
reason they're identifiable from the fake ones, the ones that were bound heads, is they do not have a cranial suture that goes
Right.
across.
Right.
And all of us have a soft spot. I can't speak for women, but a human male average, their soft spot don't close completely. That crack in the top of your skull until age 35. That's when the bone finally closes together.
Right.
It seals up. And but so we have a marked. I say that's the term I'm supposed to use, but we'll say marked. We have a marked suture that runs from the top of our pate to the front of our head. And these skulls that they're digging up, they don't have that. They don't
Well,
have it at all.
and
They
evidently that 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 skull, the way the brain was shaped, and evidently that there was more of it, more of the brain inside that skull, and so there was some more different types of intelligence, evidently, than what we have in our head right now, for instance. And so I mean, it's quite possible they're the ones that introduced, like farming, and agriculture and shit like that.
I'm finna push that connect button to see what happens. When if it knocks me out, then you can just drop that link and I'll
it
come
it,
back.
sh- it shouldn't just do what you need to do and stuff like that. Um,
It, it's working so far.
yeah, it shouldn't knock you out.
It says you're signing back into StreamYard.
Yeah,
Continue.
yeah.
Okay. Be able to continue. Says
Because
check.
once you do that, you won't have to do it again, though.
Okay. So I can do it. I was just gonna write Coneheads for Huck because remember that movie Coneheads?
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think the SNL skit was better, but um, 'cause that's where I think it was born on SNL
What was that
back
noise they made?
back back when SNL was actually good.
What
You
was
know,
that noise that they made? Those Coneheads. What was that noise? They made a fucking noise. I don't remember. Maybe it was just the way they laughed or something.
right?
Um, yeah, I didn't watch Saturday Night Live. unfortunately, in the sense where I I didn't watch it like other people because I didn't really have the television set or whatever to watch it every night or when it came on and all. But I was old enough to have been able to watch all that. But I just never was big on TV at night. I was more of a
Well,
reader, you know.
SNL was only good, for a little while. I mean, honestly, back when um, like um, Eddie Murphy and all them were, uh, you know, I don't know. Th- There was only a short time. SNL went to crap after, that's the way it is now. I think it's crap now. It's been that way for years, actually. Um,
Yeah,
but
mate. I watched that Mad TV series they made. Remember that Mad TV series they had for a
mhm,
while? Doop,
mhm,
doop, Mad. I watched that for that lowered expectations skit that they did, you know, and Black Spy versus White Spy. That shit was hilarious. I sat there and
right?
watched that. But that was later on though. That was like after it came along. Like what was it, in the late '90s, early 2000s, late '90s, I think, mid to late '90s. The Mad TV. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was probably the '80s
Yeah.
when SNL was actually, in my opinion, good. I
Hmm.
mean, and it hasn't been good since. It went woke, in my opinion. Now it's pretty much same thing with all these damn late night TV shows and stuff you see on a regular TV and shit. Just like it's all pretty much gone woke. Um,
Hey, Wingnut, I got to ask you a serious question. Okay, you've done this a bunch of times. It says my Google security alert is telling me StreamYard now has access to your Google account. If you do not grant access, review your account's activity. That's just a warning, so in case somebody
not
else was using my account, right?
well, yeah. It's basically what you just did.
Hmm.
It's just telling you that that just happened, and if it wasn't you that did that,
Then
um,
I then
then
review
you'd
it.
have to do something. But that was just you when you redid this thing with Streamyard.
Okay,
Um,
I
that
need to.
it's just notifying you that you know if it wasn't you, you need to check into it.
Okay,
And
so I just
basically,
swipe it off because I've been back there
yeah,
enough with y'all that I ain't too worried about it. I've already been. It's already known. It already knows I
yeah,
go back there. So
yeah. That's the thing now. Yeah, yeah.
hey,
Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
once you do it, you won't have to do it anymore. It's already done. You can when you type in the regular chat, it'll go into the YouTube chat. You know what I mean? Instead of like because we've been backstage most of the time, so you're always using the backstage chat. And this like so you can just interact with the regular YouTube chat also.
Yeah, it'd be nice. When I was back there with Indy, there's a bunch of times I would like to said something to people out there, just like say something to them or whatever. But I did. I wasn't afraid. I just didn't know if it would kick me out of there, so I didn't.
I mean, and then even then, it's like it's it's not that big of a deal to come back in anyway, as
Right.
long as like somebody's there to let you in, that kind of thing. Other than that, it's not a big deal. You just have to find the StreamYard link again and jump in, that kind of thing. I mean, because I can switch over to YouTube right now and start scrolling through some stuff, but if I start getting really um, like when I start searching for a video or something like that, if I'm still on StreamYard, sometimes it even knock me out just because I scrolled around too much on YouTube. And but it ain't no big deal. I just pop back in.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I knew she'd get a kick out of that. The world, look what I wrote, Wingnut. The world could use some of that. Remember? Lowered expectation. And that dude would walk into that barbed wire fence. That kind of ridicule would come in handy now with all these woke people and stuff, these goofballs that, You know, we used to keep them in line with skits like that. You know, like point out the
Well,
stupidity.
well,
Yeah.
see, that's the thing too. It's like the old Carabinet show. When oh my God, when they would sit there and try to do their skit, and sometimes they just start breaking out laughing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I just thought that made it funny too, because they did break character and they couldn't hold it together. You know what I mean? I just love that.
Right.
Harvey Korman, um, and all them guys. Tim Conway.
Mhm.
Um, oh my gosh, so funny as shit, dude.
True humor is missing. It's trying to come back. There's a few comedians out there, like real ones, that's not bought and paid for by the machine. It's trying to come back, man. Comedy, like comedy skits, that stuff is way more important than people realize. I know you do, and Moonchild and Hook, people like that we know. But a lot of people don't know what they lost whenever that everything stopped being funny and everything was so freaking like an
Well,
issue.
because everybody got fucking all their butt hurt and they're fucking woke and all this other shit. You know what I mean? They get offended and blah blah blah. I'm like,
That
shut up, man. You know,
laughed it off.
I mean,
Some
seriously, it's like it's a damn joke. Can't take a joke, get all butt hurt and offended because of a damn joke. Shut up, you
see
stupid.
them
You
people
know.
always existed. Those kind of people all the way back into the 1950s, even before that. But and I don't want to sound like I'm not being hateful here, but the school bully in public school was that whole system was set in place by the 50s generation and was allowed to continue to keep wackos like that in line when they came through the public school system and out into the workforce and into the world. They kept all that craziness in the closet where it belonged. When they started cracking down on the school bullies, and I know the bullying was wrong. I was bullied, but not in the way that was the bullying that I received wasn't well, I wasn't nothing wrong with me. That dude was just mean. He was evil. But the school bully system was there for that purpose. Was there's always a crazier person. If you put them in charge, shit's gonna go to pot, right? And that was the best that the 50s, the greatest generation could come up with to keep those crazy. Certain governor comes to mind. Elmer Fudd like governor comes to mind. You know what I'm talking about? Certain Elmer Fudd looking governor comes to mind. And those crazies like that would have always been there and they always will be. But they didn't get any spotlight and they diminished and went and kept that shit in the closet because they were publicly ridiculed. I'm sorry, but public ridicule is necessary to keep crazies at bay. Because before the 1970s, the woke lived in mental institutions. That's where they belong, you know,
Well,
and they are in mental institutions. That's what they need to be in a psychiatric ward. They're not well. If people ain't well, and, I mean, I'm not saying that because I don't like. I'm just
well,
stating a fact.
should we bring back lobotomies and electroshock therapies? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't want to torture anybody, but I do know they need to be locked away from society and making decisions about it. They ain't got to be tortured or nothing, but they don't have to even be medicated. They just got to be kept sequestered away from, they can't be allowed in government. And I don't mean I care for government. They can't be allowed at the city council. They can't be allowed. They're mentally unstable. And when they turn that shit loose on America, do as thou wilt. And there is no, everybody's beautiful. Everybody has something to contribute. That's not true. You know, some people are just not mentally stable to be in leadership positions. It's always been that way. And I may be one of them, you know, as far as I know, you know, do I sound like I need a psychological evaluation? Have you ever heard a crazy person say that? Or like a wacko? No, they never say that because that never occurs to them that they're not the one that's out there. They think everybody else is nuts because they don't line up and agree with what they think. That's what it really means to be insane in the sense where they not. There's many different tiers and levels and forms of it, but that's what it means. They can't see the other side of an issue or the other another aspect of an issue because they are locked into that one ideology and that one faith, that one whatever, esoteric belief, that one doctrine, that one whatever. and they refuse to accept because of their insanity that there's any other better way. Let me read this chat right here because I've been making like a cigarette here and I ain't been looking at it. There's Garrett, Brew. Got company when you
No, I see it.
yeah.
Yeah, I see him, Garrett. Yeah, talk about the Florida Georgia line. I haven't heard that their new stuff lately. Oh, Garrett's going to sit here and sing it for us, I guess.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Don Rickles. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do.
Yeah, those boys in that band are actually not that. No, they're not. They're from not far from me where I live.
Really?
Yeah, the people in that band, Florida Georgia line.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're from right around this area.
Yep. They there's lots of that going on. That I like all that indie music and all that stuff. I really dig all that stuff. Up and comers, people pushing, trying to do something artistic, something something to be remembered about. I admire that a lot.
So that's something else, man. I just haven't done yet, man. Um, you know, hook up a bunch of this equipment that I've got been sitting in storage for a long time and try and make some fucking music again.
Hmm.
I haven't done that in a long time.
You can do it, man. Hey, people will come listen to it. You make something, they'll come listen to it, man. You already know that.
Well, no, I'm just like saying, it's like, there's stuff that I did, when I was younger, when I was like in my, you know, 17, 18, 19, or 20 years old, something like that.
Mm.
Some of the music that I was making then, it's like I even still have. I don't know where it's at the moment, but I've probably got some like old 4-track recordings on cassette tape somewhere. Um,
Mm.
of some stuff that I was messing around with, back in the day. And then I got ideas for different stuff that I'd like to make today, that kind of thing. I've got ideas on how, I just, one of these days I got to get all my, all the equipment that I've got in storage and all this stuff all over the place and kind of hook everything up. Because now I got enough space I can actually put my turntable out, that kind of thing.
Let me get my
I got a bunch of records, man. I haven't listened to in, I don't know, 20 years.
get my real quick. I was gonna dump out some of these. You keep talking, I'm gonna do something real quick.
10 for no.
Yeah, I'm
That's the
not
thing.
here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm just
Yeah.
getting up off out bed thing so I can walk across the room. Um, I got a
No,
dude. Yeah, you go ahead.
no, I was just saying, it's like, like I said, I was like, I've got probably like 2 milk crates full of records, man. I haven't listened to in 20 years. And I need to get my turntable out of the damn storage and all that sort of shit. Some of
Yeah.
my others, you know, and see if I can get my old laptop, working again, and pull some of the fucking audio files that I've got stored on that thing. I'm trying to come up with something.
All that moisture's
It
coming.
looks like Garrett's really digging that fucking song.
Yeah. Clean all that stuff out, and I'm getting moisture in my floor again. All right.
That's the thing too. It's like, it's like I've got, I've got an eclectic type taste when it comes down to my all the vinyl that I've got. And plus I've got old cassette tapes and shit like that that I haven't heard in a long time still sitting. I've got some old mixtapes and shit like that, back when I was hanging around all the nightclubs and stuff like that. Uh, Stuff, man, I haven't heard in a long. I haven't listened to any of that shit in a while.
Yeah. That's music. Riff. Set these on the bed here. Open them up. It's just some of the ones I've been buying over the course of like 2 or 3 years, and a lot of them are budget. Like they're good knives, but they're budget knives. You know what I mean? They're like quality steel, but the handle material is like really well made, but it's the cheaper one, like G2 or something like that. I told you before I was gonna show you some of these. It won't take that many. I only picked out 4 of them. All right, here we go. Some of them I got on sale because I watch them knife brokers and knife dealers and stuff. All right, here we go. Can you see them?
Mm-hmm.
These 2 in the front, they're from a company called Fleesa. This one right here's got like a what's called an axis lock. You can pull that little lock back right there, and the blade will swing down. You can also flip it open with your fingers, like you can flip it open like this. You can flip it open like that too, or you can just pull that hinge. And then this one's the same. It's just a regular flipper. You have that tab right there, and you can just flip it open. A lot of people like the manual better. But this right here is a riffle. That's a VB riffle. Micarta handle. Good steel. I think it's uh 14C 28N. This one right here is a sin cut, and that's freaking D2. I think that's D2 tool steel right there, and it's some kind of really bright, like a jade color G2. I was gonna get you to pick a couple of them, Wingnut, and I was gonna send them to you at some point because I got so many of them. I like you.
I
No,
hear you.
seriously though, pick a couple of them, and whenever next time we talk or something, I'll get your address and mail them to you because I'm not gonna turn around and show you. There's like 3 or 4 boxes of them kind of knives over there. And
Right on.
what I was gonna say was this: tomorrow, one of my old man friend, he's my old buddy from YouTube. He sent me a knife, and I know it's gonna be a freaking god awful expensive one. He done that shit before, so I'm trying to pay it forward. You know what I mean? You don't have to take them if you don't want them. I picked you. I picked you because I think you'll use them. You know, actually use them. They're gonna stay in the freaking box for years if I keep them.
Oh yeah, right on. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, you'll be able to lord it over algorithm that you got a knife and he didn't get one. Yeah, yeah. These are D2 tool steel too, which means that they will rust if they're left outside. But as long as you keep them lubed every now and then, this one won't.
Yeah.
This
I'm
one,
used
this one,
I'm used to carbon steel type of stuff anyway.
yeah, this one right here, it won't rust either because I think it's that CPM D2. They treat it, carbon porous. I don't know what that means. CPM. Anyway, that's just 4 of them, and I got a whole buttload of them. Turn off the camera.
Right on.
Yeah, just anytime you need something just to get stabby with, just holler at me.
Yeah.
I got some over there that was gifted to me. I'm not a rich man. That's worth like $500 a piece. You know, like I've got a couple that's worth even more than that. I've got a couple in S45 VN, S35 VN. I've got some. I've got one in freaking Maximet. I don't know if you know what that is. Freaking Maximet is basically dendritic cobalt and carbide, like mixed together. That shit's like cost from thousands, even. You know, like make a tens of thousands, even make a bar, or press a bar of that stuff when you get a knife, and they would give to me. I like these little budget knives better. They're $50 and $80 knives better because I can beat them up and not worry about it. You know what I mean? And them knives that cost like that much. If I bought that shit, I would never even use it. I just leave it somewhere.
No, I hear you.
That ain't the purpose of knives. You know, they're supposed to be a tool, right?
Yeah.
There's my addiction, wingnut. You know my addiction now. I I, I wasn't telling Indian 15th and them no fib when I said if they don't let me give them super stickers, I'd buy more knives, more collectibles. I'd be buying them all the time. The
I
Vivi's a
mean,
good.
one of these days I'll probably get my damn forge up back and running. Right? You know, I have to or build me a propane forge or whatever to start making knives again.
Remember, I'm a giving type of person. I don't mean nothing by that. Wingnut. I wasn't trying to mess with your head or nothing, man. I really meant it. I was just fucking around.
I'm telling you, man, it's gonna fuck with me for the rest of the night.
I don't know if I put them back in there like they're supposed to be.
It's like, damn, Tate, what's your fucking angle, man?
Oh, yeah. That's what I'd probably done too. Yeah. Uh, no, I don't have no angle. I don't want nothing from you, man. I really don't. I'm just kind of like that. It's something to talk about and discuss. We on YouTube. We might as well do something that might get somebody's attention. Something interesting or whatever.
Well, I do like knives and stuff, man. But yeah, that's what I when I made them. That's what was always in the back of my mind is this is going to be something that I want to be used because I don't really want to make a wall hanger.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that will they like swords or knives and stuff like that, but all they do is end up being like something you hang on the wall and never even used, never even but the knives that I was making, I was thinking that's like a tool, something that that'll get used every day, whatever, and it's gonna have to last, and that kind of thing. And it might not be the prettiest thing in the world, but it's utilitarian. It
I
does
made
exactly what it's made to do.
we talked about this before. I've made a couple out of that old crosscut saw metal. That shit makes a fine knife. It's kind of thin, but you're talking about a knife that'll stay sharp too.
Right. Yeah. Um,
You take a couple knives.
you know, I, you know, I, I'd make, uh, I'd make them out of all kinds of different stuff, depending on what kind of knife I want to make and what I wanted to use it for. Um, you know, like a leaf spring off of a truck or something like that makes really good machetes and knives and stuff like that. Um, I was using, you know, lawnmower blades. I was using railroad spikes. I was using, um, crosscut saws like you're talking about, like the big circular saws, the big, sawmill type saws. You know, um, plow discs.
Them
I was
big,
using all kinds of stuff.
big ass circular. Yeah, them blades right there, some tempered steel too. They're actually a little bit. Some of them big saw circular blades for sawmills. Oh, they were thick
Yeah,
enough. Oh, you could make a freaking. You could make
yeah,
a gladius or something out of some of them. Them so much are so thick.
yeah, and you know. and it's really good steel too. You know what I mean? It depends on what, like I said, it's like depends on what you want to use it for. You know, like and if it's high carbon or not, that kind of thing, whatever. You know, um,
Here's
just just depends on what you want to use it for.
I think I've showed you this one. Here's a real like titanium and Maximet $300 knife. You know, it took me about 10 Dremel discs to open up that choil. I could get my finger right there. You
Hmm.
know, because it's a you know, it's like a this knife's designed to be worn as a sheath knife or as a pocket knife. You know, it's got a frame lock, and that's what Max Ace calls its ASP 20, which is what I described earlier. It's dendritic cobalt and tungsten carbide, and you know, I ain't gonna pay what they want for these knives. This knife was a gift to me, but you know, I don't see no difference in this one and them other ones I showed you. To be
Right.
honest with you, because they're all tools and tools are meant to be used. But I will admit that I can beat this Max Ace up. You know, like I can get 10,000 cuts on rope and stuff like that with it without having to even sharpen it. So it may be worth that three or four, $500 if a man wants to invest in a good piece that somebody else made. And I'm not no salesman, but I wouldn't look no further than Max Ace because that one right there, they got them other companies out there. You know, that Max Ace knife has been impressive. It's got ball bearings inside, you know, like ceramic bearings in the hinges where when you flip it open, you don't even have to be oiled or nothing unless you like throw it in the. If you burnt it or something, you might mess up the bearings in it. Yep. The same guy that sent me that one, he's my friend, is sending me another one. And so I'm gonna feel so bad because I'm going through my knives and stuff because I got a few, but I ain't finna part with them. You know, I want to be able to hit him back with exactly the same value. You know what I mean? That's how I
Yeah.
think. So I'm assessing what I got. I got one K bar in there, S35VN contractor killer's knife. You know, it's like it's meant to be worn on your chest.
Hmm.
It's a throat cutter's knife. What it is. It's even
Yeah.
single guy, and I got one
I,
of
I
them.
I
Not
got one. I got one that is for that purpose, but it is a modern air conditioning duct knife
uh,
that is perfect. It's got one side of the blade is serrated, the other side of the blade is regular straight, and it is sharp as fuck, dude. And that's what I've got on my chest plate, um, right there, on my uh, yeah, not my chest plate, but my chest rig. That's where I carry that. But it's like I said, I did a little bit of modification to it. I had kind of had to um, shape the handle different because it wasn't quite right in my hand. But it's just like I said, I think it's made by oh crap, I can't remember. Milwaukee. It's made by Milwaukee actually, and but it's a modern air conditioning duct knife. That sucker is beautiful. That's exactly. I mean, that's the right tool to go right in the side of the neck and take the whole esophagus out at the same time. It, perfect,
yeah,
perfect for that.
I I made a couple, but I didn't have a forge. I could have built one.
I've
Oh,
got one I built a long time ago, man, but it runs on coal, and I
oh,
haven't been able to get coal in a while. So I mean, I haven't done anything in a long time. But the stuff that I made, like I said, like like even what Huckleberry was talking about, museum quality.
mhm,
That was definitely not what I was doing. I was doing something that like what you would find in Thailand being made, that kind of thing. I mean, like those machetes made out of fucking leaf springs off of a truck. I
right.
mean, it was definitely built to last for a long time.
Hmm.
It wasn't the most prettiest fucking thing, but it fucking did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Right.
And it was dependable. That was the
That's
type of stuff that I ended up making. You know.
serviceable. You know, like people get
Yeah.
something.
I mean, seriously, this thing, you can beat it to hell, and it was definitely it's like a Timex, man. That's what I'd like to build anyway. Um, I've had people say if I got into like making like fantasy type, weaponry, like, or like, or even like cosplay type shit, people would buy it. And I'm just not into it. It's not something I really want to do, but I mean, there's a market for that kind of thing.
Yeah, they sell them like hotcakes. If they're not made to be functional, they're just made to be for wall hangers and stuff like that. They sell them like hotcakes, like.
Well, I know that's the thing. That was what people have told me this. It's like, you should probably, if you should look into like doing something like that. Making like a wall hanger. Like fantasy type weaponry, or like cosplay type stuff, or Mad Max type style stuff, or whatever. This type of stuff is like, if it looks cool, and they
Museum.
could just hang it on the damn wall and say, look, this is my battle axe, or my Mad Max fucking, whatever club or whatever, you know what I mean?
There's some museum quality pieces right there. Custom Damascus. I can't park with those. Ladder
Yeah,
Damascus.
I had a Damascus blade. The handle I didn't like. I ended up selling that knife, but that was but that's something I never really um, got good at, is making Damascus. And then on top of that, I'm doing everything by swinging a hammer. And I just making Damascus like swinging a hammer. I just wear my damn shoulder out. Maybe one of these days, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a damn power hammer or something, or make a power hammer or something like that. Make it a lot easier for me, you know. Because I mean, I wouldn't mind getting back into making some knives and stuff again. I want to make machetes, and bigger knives. But I've got to rebuild my forge if I want to do something that big.
Yep. That I saw. I'm not gonna show. I just got those out because I saw him say museum quality. Those right there are
Yeah.
recent acquisitions of mine, and they come from Dallas, Damascus. Over there in Dallas, Texas. Big Damascus place. They're museum quality. They're meant to be used though. That cleaver knife's meant to be used like as a butcher. Like butchering,
Yeah.
chopping meat, stuff like that. It ain't. I wear it like a weapon on my
Yeah.
lower back. Across my lower back.
Hmm.
And if I want to go somewhere and I don't want to sit down, I'll put one of them on. Wear it across my lower back. You won't be sitting down too much. That big old lump in the middle of your back. But I
Yeah.
wear most of my knives across my lower back. Like, I don't know if you call it samurai style. Some of the samurai warriors from the Edo period would wear their little knives like stuck in their front sash or whatever. But some of them wore them on their lower back like that, because you could just reach right to your hip and just grab it. Like almost like you think about a handgun on your hip.
Hmm.
And contractors, contract professionals, like spooks, them kind of, they wear them up on their chest. We've all seen it, or they wear them in that somewhere like that. But I'm lucky. I live in Texas. You can swagger around with a big old Bowie knife on your hip in Texas. It may be
Yeah.
technically illegal, but they don't mess with you. So we get to
Yeah.
do stuff like that here.
Yeah. I
But,
carry a knife on my belt all the time.
mhm. But surprisingly, I don't tote a gun most of the time, at least a visible one. I'll throw and a little Anderson, a worked over Anderson. It's a little cheap Anderson AR pistol, but it's got a Cold Hammer Forge bolt and a Cold Hammer Forge wild barrel installed in it, so it's not really an Anderson anymore. I throw it in the truck sometimes, a little bumper stock on it, and I don't really carry openly a gun. No, I mean, and so I carry a knife most of the time. But you spit in any direction in Texas, there's two or three guys with a damn gun. So you know, Texas toothpick. Yeah, yeah, that is a hell of a weapon. A Texas toothpick. It ain't for the faint of heart to wield one of them. No doubt about it. Hard knife to make too, accurate correctly. From what I understand.
Yeah, I'm not really good at making double-edged blades. I can tell you that.
Yep.
I'm not good at it. And plus I haven't done a lot of them, but I've tried a couple of times, but I'm not good at it. But
Yeah, like
I'd rather stick my single-edged blades and stuff like that, and I don't me personally, the stuff that I make, I don't put any kind of serrated edge type of shit on it. I don't do
yeah,
any of that. You know, and like I said, it's just pretty much bare bones, you know, stuff that'll last. I want something, because I mean, I start thinking about like some of the, because like my mom has got some kitchen knives that my grandmother had, and these things are still in excellent shape. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like that was back when they made fucking knives to last. You know what I mean? For hundreds of years. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like all this crap you buy nowadays, man. It's like you'd be lucky to still be worth a shit in 5 years.
yeah. I got one that was found in a scrap yard, a junk yard, and it's bronze. The handle is bronze, and the sheath is real bronze. I don't know how old the bronze is, but it come from Syria because it had the freaking blade was made out of iron or something. Like you would find in Arab country. The little mermaid looking dagger they carry stuck in their sash in their belt. I
Hmm.
freaking got one of them. Some jackass, he took it. I had it somewhere one time, and this jackass welded on the blade, and he burnt up the blade. So I had to build another blade. But I used old butcher knife steel, like you were just talking about, from
Hmm.
back in the 60s or 70s, fish filleting knife, like my grandpa was a commercial fisherman, and he had a lot of them big, what we would call watermelon knives, like curved blade,
Yeah,
like a stud. And I took one of them and I pared it down to where it was exactly the same size, and I put it in there. And but anyway, that blade had all them letters and stuff on it. It would tell what it was worth, because back in them days they scrap stuff all the time that'd be real valuable now. You know, Especially if that knife's real old. Like it didn't say Pakistan on it; it says Syria on it. Right on the side of the handle. Punched in, engraved into it, and it's got like a merman or something engraved into the sheath, and the sheath's all one big piece with a tail, like a fish tail, that hooks around. Yeah, I'll show it to you one of these days. I'm not sure where it's at right now. It's in one of them boxes.
I got one. I can't remember where in the hell I put it. I've got one around here somewhere. The damn blade is it looks like a crescent moon. I mean, it's double edged, and it's like a shape like a crescent moon. The inside of the moon shape fits
Mm,
exactly around a neck. It's like perfect right around the neck. And then, like I said, it's double edged. It's like, it's got on the inside of the curve, it's a serrated edge. On the outside of the curve, it's a regular solid blade.
mm-hmm.
Uh,
He's asking you.
it's one of those Pakistani type blades, but then this thing, uh, perfect
Kane.
for it's perfect for decapitation type of
Yeah.
stuff.
You see what Hook's asking you? Yeah, he say it might be a cane knife, a sugar cane chopping knife. Like chopping
Yeah.
down sugar cane, and some of them curved blades that he may have been referring to what I was talking about. Them big old curved, like looks like a Saracen sword, but it's a big old butcher knife. My
Mhm.
grandpa used to use them when he was a commercial fisherman many years ago, when that was still a thing. You could do that for a living. He used them big old knives, cut them big old striper and stuff. Them big hybrids and buffalo and Gaspargoo and them big old catfish, blues and all that. He used that big
Mhm.
old knife like that because some of them fish was huge, man.
Yep. Yep.
Like
Like
fish
a
was huge.
tuna,
Yeah,
sitting there fucking, processing a tuna. I
yeah.
mean, there's these guys in Japan. They got it looks like a long wooden pole with a blade on the end of it, and that's what all they're using to like just basically or like this thing. It looks like a huge teardrop, and that's the shape of the blade itself.
Mm.
And
Like a
that's what
willow.
they're using. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they're processing this huge tuna with, and
Hey,
you know. Some of
uh,
them they look like fucking ninja swords almost, but
mm,
they're just for slicing tuna.
you got
That's the only purpose that they use them for.
Right, and it's like a katana, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's not
It's
called
a,
a katana. It's called something else. But
well, I know that's why I was saying it's like a ninja sword. Ninja sword's got a straight blade versus a curve. It doesn't have
it's
a curve.
called
It's a straight. It's straight blade.
the ninja
And
sword is a Mugai Ryu is what it's called. Like
right,
it's real
but it
thick
then
and bony.
but that's
Yeah.
what these Japanese guys were using to cut up like the tuna fish and stuff like that. Man, I'm gonna tell you, these things are beautiful. I mean,
Oh,
and it's like the only thing that you would use these damn knives for is like cutting up big tuna fish.
I'm chopping somebody's arm off. They come,
I
I
mean,
don't bet
you know,
people. They don't come messing around that dude's kitchen too much, messing with him. I'm
well,
sure.
that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, I mean, I've got some kitchen knives that would be perfect, for like, like a zombie apocalypse type of scenario. You know.
Oh, did I tell you about that? And I don't expect y'all to be the same as me. I get American Rifleman magazines. Now, I'm not a big supporter of the NRA. I like Guns of America. You know that they go to bat for our gun rights more than NRA's they're a bunch of pansies. But the American Rifleman magazine's been around for over 100 years, and I still get it. Once a month. And a couple of episodes ago, a couple of magazines back, they got an article in there showing all our boys, our doughboys that went to World War I and World War II, especially, and how they were taking the Marines and the Army boys was taking their knives and they were trading them for those stamped out katanas. Some of them Japanese soldiers were carrying. Most of
Yeah.
them were just punched out, ceremonial blades. They weren't really nothing special about them. And our GIs were trading their gung ho knives and their toothpicks and their K bars and stuff for them damn swords. And they got back to the states, and at the time, technically they were more valuable. The sword was, but now that those swords are all rusted away and they realized they weren't of any value in the first place. The values of their knives are so high now that a lot of the boys are wishing they never would have traded their knife. They wouldn't have traded their knives because there's no way they could ever track them down and get them back because they didn't make so many of each allotment of those military issue uh, trench knives and stuff.
Yeah.
In the Marine Corps in particular, they jumped year to year. They would change the knife like every couple of years. They'd issue something else, just because that's just the way the Marine Corps is. They don't really think of it as it's a tool and they like it. They'll just use it. They get hand me downs from other service branches or they just make their own version. And so a lot of their knives are very valuable and sought after by collectors. And they're somewhere in somebody's mantle in Japan. Set in somebody's collection is where most of our boys' knives went. And that's kind of ironic. That now there was a few cases, Wingnut, and where our boys traded their knife for a real katana like an ancestral sword from like 400 or 500 years before,
Or
you
they
know.
killed or they killed an officer and they got it
Right.
off the dead
And
body or something.
those Masamune blades that were descended from Masamune's forging technique were your common soldier in like 1600 something in Japan. Your common soldier, he had the cheapest blade they made for a common soldier was better than our steel we got, like sword steel we got now. You know what I mean? Seriously.
Well, well, I
You know.
mean, their method of folding metal, man,
Mm,
was pretty damn, it was high. That was like state of the art technology, and it still is basically in some ways. Because I mean, there's very few people that are still doing the traditional
right.
bladesmithing like they did back in then. You know what I mean?
They use two hands. Yeah.
Starting from a fucking chunk of ore and
Right.
making a blade out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, that
They
process, you
that
know,
didn't have power hammers, so they used two. They had two
yeah,
apprentices.
yeah, I
Um,
know that's the thing. That it's like I have respect for some of those people that do that stuff. That was another thing too. I was going to do this, and I never did it. But what I was going to do when I was making some knives, because I know other YouTubers that do stuff, and I was thinking about the same. I was thinking about the same line, the same along the same line as how these swords are made. You know, um, it's not just one person making the whole damn sword. There's one guy that will make the blade. There's one guy that will make the handle and the hilt and all that sort of stuff. All the furniture for it. And there was one guy that did the sharpening and there's a guy that made the scabbard, you know what I mean? That was one of the things that I was going to do is actually I was going to make a blade and then hand it off to another YouTuber to make the handle and then hand it off to another YouTuber to make the sheath, and just kind of do that kind of thing and and each
But,
YouTuber can, make a video, but it would be like basically me completing my knife and getting all these different trades involved, and
but but I was, and that is what they did. One of them done the Tommy wrap, and one of them done this, one of them done that, made the sheath.
right,
But the
right,
main thing was you like radios, you frequency. You believe I've heard you say it many times. Everything's a frequency.
mm-hmm,
Well, there was something about the design and the shape of their hammers. Have you ever seen the traditional
oh yeah,
Japanese hammers? It was
yeah,
like a cylinder, real long on one side, and it was real short on the other.
yeah,
And they would swing them in like a perfect unison, and there would be a harmony to it, like a resonance, ping, ping,
mm-hmm,
ping. And I believe they figured out. I just believe this, that they learned how to use the frequency of the ringing steel to strengthen it beyond just the folding of 200 times minimum. They didn't produce a sword that was folded under 200 times that they issued to a true samurai. If it was a true samurai was going to purchase or use that blade, it had to be folded at least 200 times. That's like 2 million layers or
mm-hmm,
something when you do the math. But that ringing, that resonance, those two apprentices were like ping, 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 and they stretch that steel out into a flat bar, and then the rest of the story. They put putty, like clay, on the edge.
mm-hmm,
Then they would drop it in cool oil water like stuff, and it would temper and it would flex and bend because they were trapping the steel atoms inside of a shroud of iron. So gave it great flexibility. But I believe that ringing of that hammer had a lot to do with how strong their swords were, because you can make that a blade just like that. You've watched Forged in Fire. They try to make katanas on that show several times, and with good bladesmiths. And the first cut they took on a pig carcass or something, it would bend it, or it would ripple the edge of it, and they
mm-hmm.
done everything right. They just weren't getting that. They weren't getting that resonance worked into that steel where it had that ringing, singing sound when it hit
What,
something.
what
And
what you see on Forge and Fire, like for instance, none of them are folding steel. All right,
no, I'm talking about
for
yeah,
one, all right, and two, they're not mixing different types of metal, because that was one of the things they did with like katanas, for instance. They
mhm,
put a harder metal, like a higher carbon steel, on the edge of the blade, and
right. It
they
was
put a softer carbon steel in the spine of the blade
it was a
to give it
billet,
that, yeah, to
like
give it that
billet steel.
flex, but it won't break. You know what I mean?
They that
Um,
how many seasons of that show did you watch? Because towards later seasons, before they wrapped up that show, they were starting to get some. They were starting to make more harder to make now. They did make a few episodes where they had to fold it. They had to make steel billets, and most of the wannabe forgers, bladesmiths
yeah,
failed and
yeah,
couldn't pass.
I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I mean, honestly, like, I there I had mixed feelings about Forge and Fire altogether. All
Yeah,
right,
well,
because
it was true.
because like I said, I was actually, sitting in, I built my own forge. I'm sitting there, learning how metal works and all that stuff through, practice, and trial and error and all this other shit. And
Jason
um,
kept trying to tell
but
them, and that's why they
when
got
it
rid of
comes, well, the thing is also is like, Forge and Fire, when dude, I was starting to look at the price of shit.
him.
People, I was looking at like how people were, um, oh, I've got an old anvil I want to sell, but I'll sell it for like $5,000, that kind of shit. I'm like, and it's like, when that show came out, I noticed that like the price of stuff like, for, like forging or whatever or anything like that started going up, you know. It was like if you wanted to buy an anvil, you're paying like $2 a pound probably, or more, I mean, for an anvil.
Yeah,
Or even just like, like tongs or anything like that.
That's what it was for. When you're on the right track. It was pushing the business. They wanted to push it up,
Well,
make
and that was one of the things that I didn't like about the show, is
right. Well,
because
that's the point.
but there's also, it was actually kind of putting that, because I'm going to tell you something, man. You look at this country, for instance, back in the day when this frickin' country was first trying to get on its feet, every fucking town had a blacksmith. And that's the blacksmith of what built this fucking country back in the day. All right. Everything needed a blacksmith for one of those, like trains, horseshoes, just hinges for doors. Everybody needed a blacksmith. All
Right.
right. And that was one of the things that was frustrating me about it. It was kind of like going into like one of those dying arts. And then Forge and Fire came out. It kind of brought it back into the limelight again, and almost sensationalizing it again. I mean, I part of me was like, that's a good thing, because next thing you know, there's going to more people, younger people or whatever, never
Take a
really been
screenshot.
exposed to it before, and now they're like, oh, I want to get in there and start trying to make blades myself and stuff like that. Because like I said, for a while, I mean, I was thinking this is kind of like one of those dying arts, and next thing you know, nobody's gonna be doing this shit anymore. You know what I mean? So because
Get a, get
I
a
always
screenshot
thought
of
of it,
this.
huh?
Y'all get a screenshot of this and blow it up, chop it down. It took me forever to build that grid. That's it gives you a primer on what steel, that's the best of the best, all the way down to the trash.
Right?
Can you see it? Y'all got
Yeah.
one?
So yeah.
Okay. And you can throw it away. You don't have to keep it. I'm just saying it took me forever to work up that little homemade freaking grid. Some of that shit you'll never even see. That Crewware and that Chronodar and that those steels are proprietary steels. Sleep near, you won't never come across any of that out in like in junk. But a lot of that stuff, it equates to something else. Like right down here, it said down here, people think that 1075 and 1095 are really good steel. Well, that's budget steel.
Hmm.
You understand? It's the stuff up there at the very top and that red, that's custom stuff that these shops make. But that premium and that high end and that mid range stuff is where you want to be. If you can get some of that Bowler N690 or A2 is the best in my opinion. A2. And I wasn't trying to interrupt you or nothing, but when you was watching Forged in Fire, you might remember the first couple of seasons. Old Jason Knight was on there. He was a motorcycle guy, had like a beard, and he kept telling them that they were sensate. He said y'all overcomplicating this whole thing. He kept telling them all you need is a bar of O1 or H1 stock or some A2, and you can make the best blade out there. You don't need all this. And they didn't want that. They wanted to push that industry, make everything more expensive, right? And push the knife business. And so they were getting young people like all interested in it, and you know how it goes. And they fired him off the show and brought this other freaking dude on there that was like a yes man type guy, young fella, the host of the show or whatever, a wannabe Navy SEAL dude
Hmm.
or whatever. And he was always treating it like it was a UFC or something, pestering them kids that come on there and some of them older guys that come on there saying little smart remarks to them. And, they turned it into a dog and pony show, like a
Right. Right.
greatest
Well,
hopes.
they gotta make money somehow. But I mean,
Right.
that was the reason why I'm kind of weird about the show altogether. I mean, when I start thinking about like you know, I don't know, and I wouldn't even consider myself a traditionalist either. But um, I start thinking about the whole purpose of it, and then even on the prepper end of it, man, it's another skill that I have in my head that I don't have to carry in my backpack. It's like I know how to make a knife. I know how to make a machete. I know how to make tools. And sometimes I've actually had to make tools just to make the tool that I wanted to make. You know what I mean? So mm, you know, reason that was one of the things in the back of my mind why I wanted to learn how to do this is because it may come to a point where uh, I this is how you're going to be able to get anything done is have to go back to the old ways in a sense. Um, you know, and it was kind of like on my sewing stuff. It's like I at the moment both my sewing machines are hand crank. No electricity needed. So even if the electricity did go out, I can still sew stuff. Whatever. Just there's a lot of different things that it's just mostly just knowing the knowledge. It's like I can take that knowledge anywhere with me. Um, you know,
Yeah. If
that's
you learn,
that's something. That's another reason why I was sitting there thinking, like on my level, on my what I'm thinking, like when it comes down, if I ever had to bug out, yeah, I can carry whatever I can carry in my backpack because I can find whatever else I need on the way. You know,
mm,
uh, I don't feel like I don't feel like I have to carry everything on my backpack. You know what I mean? Because I'm I've done the scavenger thing. I'm um, sometimes it's a lot better to have a lighter pack. So if you got skills stored in your head, it won't weigh anything in your backpack, so you can take those skills with you, and along the way, you know, I wanted to make a stove or something like that, or some kind of a cook stove. I just find the bits and parts that I need along the way, and then I can do that, and something if I want to keep it, I can, but otherwise, I can just throw that away, and I can build another one wherever I go to the next place. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Um,
yeah, yeah, you can make just about whatever you need. And that's why I showed you
well,
that knife steel grid because that stuff in the mid range and down, a man can work that without a forge. That stuff is mid range and down.
yeah,
That steel's already tempered in really good quality. Even if it's just a little pen knife size piece of it, you can
right,
turn it into something else. You know
yeah,
that's why I bought so many of them budget knives because I was thinking once I wear them out, I could always make a little single edge like sheath like type paring knife or something out of them.
hmm
You know, it's made out of good arches, whatever I needed to make. Once they, um, we make our own stuff here too in my area of the country. We freaking fix our own turnbuckles on our tractors. you know, you got a big enough hammer and a big enough lever, we fix it. I mean, we don't go buy a brand new one just because something breaks. A lot of
just
times we just build one.
wrap it in bale and wire and duct tape to be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and my buddy one time, we made it about 3/4 of a mile. But this is no shit. He had one of them big old Ford 78 model Ford trucks they put up on like lift. They got them big old tire, like a Bigfoot. He had one of them and it was a single cab. And we went down to the river about 5 miles away and we got almost back like a mile away from his grandpa's house actually. And the U joint blew out of it, right? It was just gone. And so the drive shaft was on the ground, and we looked around inside the cab of the truck. I shit you not, we took some parachute cord, a paracord, and
Hmm.
we went up there and we twisted and we twisted and we put it through them holes and we twisted and we twisted and we put it through them holes, wrapped it and wrapped it and wrapped it. I mean, we came a little less than a quarter of a mile from getting home before that string broke. I mean? We almost made it. If we hadn't had to go up a little incline, I think we would have made it. I was amazed by that. All that torque, twisting on that cord. That was pretty amazing that we got as far as we did without it snapping immediately. Yeah, I told that because that's the truth. That's the absolute truth. I didn't even think we was gonna get 2 feet. You know what I mean? I figured
Right.
we put it in gear and it's just pop, but it drove. It freaking drove. Amazing. Um.
Well, Tate, I'm gonna call it, and
Okay. Man. Yeah. It looks
yeah.
like we lost our company anyway. Yeah. I appreciate it. Yeah. I
I
don't.
honestly, man, I don't really get a whole lot of people on my live streams, man. So I mean, I'll
Hey,
be lucky if I get more than 5 people in my chat. You know what I mean? So,
I'm sorry I turned it into a knife thing. I just figured that's something to entertain people. Maybe show some
oh
knives or
no,
whatever.
I ain't worried about it. No, I'm just like, I'm just getting tired to the point where I'm just like, I'm gonna sit back and probably fall
Okay,
asleep in the chair.
I know, yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of maintenance here before I go. But I was pulling out stuff and found water on my floor over there under my window. Not bad, just must be that air conditioner, that window unit that's over there leaking somehow. But I'll let you go and appreciate you, and we'll talk again or whatever. Don't I don't make a habit out of
Yeah,
coming up with panels, but
no, I ain't worried about it, man. Like I said, I mean, um, I can always do backstage stuff, man. When what I'm thinking about doing, which I don't know when I'm going to do it because I'm so random when it comes down to it anyway. But what I
hmm
was sitting there thinking about doing is, you know, putting like a notification, like I'm going to go live, and then go live for like I don't know 20 minutes, and then
yeah,
just say, and then shut it down and just be backstage, for
right.
whoever wants to be backstage and all that stuff.
Give give
Hang back there.
yeah,
The only thing is like I wish I can't do it on my cell phone, but I wish I could, where I can share videos and stuff, and we can just like do, kind of like the movie night thing. But I don't have any way of doing that on my cell phone, so
right.
that's
Got to.
that's the only
Yeah,
problem with that. Because I mean,
yeah.
I would love to sit back and just watch videos and shit like that and talk about that kind of shit. If I had a way of doing it.
Get somebody to come over and just even if they don't stay and set it up to go to play. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
But yeah, I know. I mean, if Indy is not busy or something like that, I can probably get her to do it and help me out on that.
she
But
don't want to watch it though.
that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah,
if she's not busy and all that stuff, she can help me do it. But
yeah. Okay, well, we won't ever shut up. Let's.
all right,
I appreciate
all
you.
right,
Tell you can go around YouTube, tell them that you're the first one ever got Tate on a panel. You, you,
yeah,
you got the record. It never happened
yeah.
before. I did. It did
I hear,
once in
I hear.
Australia, but it was an accident. So,
All
all right, man. Peace
right,
out.
all right,
I'll
man.
talk to you later, bro. All right.
Later. And all you guys out there in the chat, you guys have a good morning. And like I said, you know, I'm so random, but we'll we'll do this stuff again. And y'all have a good one out there. Double one, double two, wing that bag out.